Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Slot One Super Podcast, episode 22. We are back for another week of Dokkan Battle shenanigans. Hope you all had a fantastic week. Of course, joining me as per usual, we had the boy Mas Ningen and Minato's Flash. Say hello, gentlemen.
Yo,
Lovely.
how's it going, everyone?
Classic.
Here's my 5 boosts.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, the 5 boosts have been cooking. I've been enjoying it so much. Well, we have lots to talk about this week. Obviously, we have anniversary on the horizon, as well as a couple of things for Global. Don't worry, Global ain't got left out. As well, obviously, we are in the middle of the countdown celebration, so we have all kinds of shenanigans to discuss today. But before we get into the goods, of course, we always want to remind you guys that any donations and super chats will be read out at the end of the stream. So don't worry, we see it. We will be answering all your questions and comments at the end. All right. So I guess let's just get into it, right? No reason to be goofing around. Let's just jump right into it in classic YouTuber fashion. So, we're going to be starting off with Global, since obviously Global doesn't have as much news as JP at the moment. Starting off with the LR Baby EZA on Global, the AGL LR Baby. I know when this guy came to JP, I was actually pretty excited about this because I think this guy's a pretty cool unit. But obviously, our resident global player, Mas Ningen, I assume you have gotten a chance to use this guy. How are you feeling about this, man?
It's an unfortunate situation where he kind of ends up in the same boat as like the LR Omega Shenron, right? Where like his EZA, he's good. He gets up to some pretty good numbers, even without having like a pure Saiyan or Hybrid Saiyan enemy. He can be pretty decent, but like he's just stuck on teams that you don't really want to run, or like teams with units that you don't want to run. GT Boss is obviously being a prime example, and he's on some other teams as well. He's got a couple of 200% leaders, but they're not really teams that he fits like super well onto. Of course, you know, with the upcoming stuff for JP that we're going to talk about, he's going to get some events where we're going to be able to fight some super type enemies and maybe get some extra buffs and stuff like that. But basically just him releasing at this point on Global, it's like you can run him on GT bosses and he's like the best unit on the team pretty much. It's like him or Omega. And then that's it, right? And the problem is the stuff that I've been experiencing with him is like I put up a video today doing the Omega event, like the Omega stage with the GT bosses team. And like Omega can do pretty well, but he's, you know, primarily if you're running double Omega leads, he's kind of like your slot 1 tank. And so in the first phase, you constantly get supered in slot 1 by Tech Omega, and then Omega gets stunned, and so can't do anything. So he can't build up, can't do any damage. And then Baby kind of does okay in slot 2. I think it was like, I think I got the Dokkan attack in the Tech phase. That's how long it took me to get out of the Tech phase, because Omega kept getting stunned and nobody else on the team is good or like does any damage. So it was quite a horrendous experience. So he is a good unit, but he's just on a terrible team. Very disappointing. We need to get like a Dokkan Fest Baby with like a side banner unit, Super Baby Vegeta or something like that. And yeah,
Wow.
GT bosses just need saving, because it's the thing, we talked about it a lot. I think we talked about it last week as well, but like we talked about it on my stream and stuff. Like if you get a Dokkan Fest Baby and they do side banner units that are like the Tuffle possessed, like, you know, Gohan, Goten, Trunks, Bola, like Bulma even, like they won't be on GT bosses. So it doesn't help the category at all. So yeah, like if we get a Dokkan Fest Baby,
I can't believe you, bro. Just like going to my idea I put in your chat.
I mean, to be fair, you said that in the stream earlier today, but I'd already said it before then. So because it's
that's crazy.
I've been saying that for quite some time.
I mean, yeah, it's just one of those. I mean, it's one of those things, right? Multiple people will have come to the same conclusion, sure, because like that's the problem is if you bring out the side banner units and their characters that aren't on GT bosses, then it doesn't help that team at all. So it has to be like a different version of Baby, kind of like we had with 21, right? Where it's like you get 21, good 21 transforms into Martian 21, and then the side banner unit is just evil 21. That's the kind of thing that you need to like see. Or like GT bosses, we need like a Dokkan Fest Sin that transforms into Omega, and then make both the like give him like the Ginyu treatment, give him 2 side banner units, and make one of them like ice and the other one like a transforming Oceanus or something. So they're all GT bosses, because that's the problem is you can't just, if they bring out like one Dokkan Fest, even a Dokkan Fest Baby, if he was really good, but then his side banner units aren't GT bosses, then it's like one more unit for the team that is good, and so half the team is still bad. So it's it's pretty unfortunate. I think he's cool. Like his design's pretty good. Like in terms of just for a yellow coin LR EZA, he's pretty good. It's just unfortunately you're probably not going to find many opportunities to run him, at least for the time being. So a little bit disappointing, but I think that pretty much just like sums up GT bosses at this point. So
yeah, badly, which kind of stinks. Like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like the unfortunate restriction of categories in Dokkan sometimes when it comes to that sort of thing. You know, I'm kind of, that's like, you know, the type of thing where, dang, that's a huge Legends W right there with how their tags work. Because obviously they're a little bit more encompassing.
Yeah.
Mr. Minato, is there anything that you wanted to say about Baby before we continue?
See, Baby is like, again, a good character, right? If when another villain team gets better, like, you know, Space Traveling Warriors, if it ever gets better, or, you know, even Transformation Boost, Artificial Life Forms, right? If those teams do get updates, then Baby will have a place there, because luckily he's not restricted to being on a specific team like GT Bosses. He could be used on any of those teams. It's just that they all suck.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, I don't know, maybe run him in Battle Fate. But
It's
luckily
not a
this guy's
terrible idea.
actually gonna end up looking better very soon, because he gets passives against Pure Saiyan and Hybrid Saiyan as enemy, and touch on that later, but there's content coming out for that, right? Well,
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring it up because again, we're talking about how good he is right now, and we're not gonna touch on him again later, really. But that part of the passive will get upgraded, so he may look even just a lot better than he is right now, and I think he's already pretty good, so that's good.
How do you? You'll have to see it.
Yep.
All right. Well, with that being said, we have one more piece of news for Global. A very interesting little surprise here. Yeah, so well, surprise in terms of, I suppose, how we receive the information, not a surprise in terms of what's happening next on Global. We did get a leak from old boy I Seriously, which was kind of crazy because obviously we all kind of thought that he was gone. And the man made a comeback to post another leak of the int androids from the Tournament of Power coming to Global. Now, obviously, this isn't like, you know, holy cow type of crazy or anything, because of course, you know, I mean, they only have so many units that they can take from GP at the moment to then bring to Global. And not to mention, considering, you know, sometimes Dokkan likes to do a little bit of shenanigans where it's not really, you know, like that the versions are doing the same thing. But sometimes I swear they do it on purpose, where they have like similar characters or something on both versions at the same time. And obviously with that coming up in UI Goku's EZA, a little bit of crossover, but nothing crazy. So, with that being said though, the one thing that I will say before I pass it over to you two about this unit, if you want to talk about them more, is that this might actually not be the worst character to summon for on Global, only because of their leader skill, right? I mean, they're not like terrible or anything, right? They're not like an awful unit, but obviously with the EZA of STRUI, and then not to mention, you know, AG, almost called him Blue from talking about Legends earlier. AGL MUI, right, Goku, the anniversary unit, will also be getting an EZA during the anniversary. So, for global players to have these androids when these EZAs will drop for more Universal Survival Saga stuff might not be such a bad idea, because obviously it's kind of a long-term investment for the category. But Minato, I see you smiling over there. What do you got to say, brother?
Dude, just these guys, just like I'm annoyed by their design, right? I think that you can get them to work in situations, right? You definitely like make them like look nice, right? But the thing I hate about them so much is, again, because they're an Android, they have Android links, they want to be around with Android characters, but then obviously since they're bringing the new category, they really made them based around tournament participants, which is fine. However, they want a Goku on a rotation with them for them to actually be good, right? For the unit super attack buff, like that's like the biggest part of their kit, because the unit super attack buff raises all allies attacking defense by 35% for 2 turns. So that's basically adding, again, raises defense to everyone's super attack effect, right? So even if the character's already raising their defense by 50% on their super attack effect, that becomes 85%, right? Etc. Etc. That's a pretty big boost, right?
Yeah.
So because they need a Goku in the same turn for that, and tournament participants sucked, they're not too good. And we're getting better Gokus for the team, obviously, right? That's going to happen. But then with having to have them floating around with Goku in the rotation, right, you're missing out on shocking speed, android assaults, twin terrors, like those android links that'll make them like as good as they can be, so they're not as tanky. And then they only get the reduction after they super attack, 35% damage reduction, which means that they're sitting at like 300 to 400k defense start of turn, and then AoEs demolish them, and they just can't live AoEs. So, especially for a floating support unit, being able to not like do anything about AoEs for a brand new Dokkan Fest is kind of weird, in my opinion. And that's my only issues with them. I think if you get them cooking and against non-AoE bosses, they could be really good. Like with that reduction up, they have a scouter as well with the Goku rotation. Like you could avoid them from taking a super anyways. But that's just the annoying thing about them. And it's like, because they need a Goku, you can't run them on their teams like androids or worthy rivals, or even some superhero setups, right? So I would have really liked if, honestly, their super attack effect should have just been that 35% for 2 turns just in general, and they shouldn't even had a unit super. Goku shouldn't be part of the card. Even if they had to lower the buff on their super attack effects to like 25% or just 30%, right? I would have much preferred that. That's my opinion. I know some people may actually even disagree. I had someone in my comments who are like, well, it's not that big of a deal to need a Goku on rotation. Gokus are good, but whatever.
It shouldn't be necessary, I think, is the point. I mean, we know Matsu, he loves his base Goku. He's always got to include him in there somewhere. Ningen, do you have any thoughts on this coming up?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because it's considering the timing. It's like, what's that meme where it's like, if I had a nickel every time Global got an Android 17 and 18 while JP was having the anniversary, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's strange that it happened twice. Because 2022, the February Dokkan Fest release was the Tech Future Androids. And so here we go. 2024 February release is going to be the In Androids. So we get Android 17 and 18 Dokkan Fest hype while JP has the anniversary. So obviously very, very exciting.
What, is that a hint of sarcasm I detect in your voice?
Never. So, I mean, the thing is, I've said this before, but like I agree with everything Minato said about the unit, right? Like they're okay. You can get them to work. Their design, parts of their design are really frustrating. I was messing around on the private server after doing the UI Goku EZA showcase, and like Rainbow level 10 links against Infusion Zamasu, if you have them on a rotation where they're not having those Android links, like say you've got UI Goku and Blue Kaioken Goku, and then they're in slot 3, they take like 400k from Zamasu's AoE, which is terrible. But the thing is that I have said, which is, I'm kind of torn. But I mean, obviously for me, like as a content creator, I'm going to summon for them anyway when they come out, right? And I'll probably just get the one copy and then stop unless I get them straight away. And I always, if I get them early, I'll throw a couple more multis at it and see what happens. But I am kind of interested in getting them a bit more because of what we're seeing coming out on JP, which, so like you said, I mean, I think this is kind of the planned time slot, but it's very convenient that as they are coming out on global, we're getting a lot of these buffs now. Like STR UI Goku's EZA is really, really good. And obviously they're a unit that are going to give him a crazy buff. Of course, we know that AGL UI Goku and Blue Evolution Vegeta are going to EZA as part of the anniversary. So it's one of those weird things, like you said, it's kind of like an investment, right? It's like if you pull them when they come out in like a couple of days' time, right? They come out on Thursday, I think. If you pull them, their team now is not really great, and you probably might not even use them that much, I guess. But like then when the anniversary arrives in July for global, and we get all of the stuff that comes along with that, it's probably going to make a significant difference to some of your teams, whether you have this unit in your box or not.
Yep.
And they're not going to have returned by then at any point for, especially, I mean, they haven't returned yet for global. Very unlikely they'll have returned by the time, for JP. Very unlikely they'll have returned by the time the anniversary is on global. And the thing is, that's like only going over the stuff that we know about, which is the 2 UI Gokus and Blue Evolution Vegeta. Obviously, we know the theme of the anniversary is just Dragon Ball Super in general. So there's easily, regardless of who the Part 2 LRs are actually going to be, we could easily see other Tournament of Power characters getting EZAs, getting new units. Another, like a big one that I really want to see, which I feel like could potentially come in during the anniversary, is the physical LR Blue Kaioken and Blue Evolution Vegeta. Which would be another huge buff, and is another unit that has Goku like in the name, right? So if all these things happen during the anniversary, having this unit is going to make those teams significantly better. It's just one of those unfortunate things that for global, you kind of, everyone's kind of got their mindset locked on saving for the anniversary for now, with potentially obviously the sidetrack for depending on what Saiyan Day is, right? So it's not really a unit that if you've started that process of saving up stones for the anniversary and then maybe with a peek into the Saiyan Day banner, you're not going to want to suddenly drop like a few hundred stones to pull this unit, or more of course depending on your luck, but drop a whole bunch of your stones on this unit only to potentially then not even use them for like 4 months, right? So it's bit of a crazy situation. I feel like with all the Tournament of Power buffs and stuff we're getting, like those units and that team will still be really good even if you don't have these guys. So they probably are going to be an easy skip for most people on global, I think. So a little bit disappointing, but it is what it is.
So I heard people say that they might be on the banner that'll be right before, I think it's the banner that's like in June or August or something like that. I think it's the banner right before Worldwide. That might be the one that they return on, and that's like for global specifically, right? Because on JP's March banner, they should be returning on the next banner after anniversary, like the normal Dokkan Fest 2R banner. So with that in mind, that banner like usually is either before anniversary or before Worldwide. So you can always wait and grab them with coins too if you really want them.
I was going to say, because that is the thing, right? The first Dokkan Fest after the anniversary on JP pretty much always comes out on global before the anniversary. So if they came back on that banner, then obviously they would be back on global before the anniversary. But obviously we don't know that yet. So you're kind of taking a risk if you choose not to go for them now, but you want to get them for that team after all the buffs. Then obviously at the moment, we just don't know when they come back because they haven't returned on JP yet. So but yeah, it's a shame because
I would have grabbed them.
It's a shame because like I thought, as like obviously until we saw the Goku part of the card and all that kind of stuff, like in terms of filler Dokkan Fest, like don't get me wrong, I am not super hype about them as a choice overall. I don't think it's like a top pick, but honestly I think it's a good pick for like what we would call a filler Dokkan Fest, like a 17 and 18 from the Tournament of Power. When we saw that as like the teaser, it was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool for like a filler Dokkan Fest. And then, obviously there's very wonky things with their kit. They had to throw Goku in there. So it's a little bit disappointing, but Yeah,
Imagine like Andrew's 21 team if they could be used on there, and then
yeah,
maybe
exactly.
help her tank AoEs better. Even like since she doesn't get defense until she dodges, maybe it'd be risky turn one, but I don't know. I just think restricting them to a unit that's like on like one or two of their teams, and then it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, it's an investment because right now their team, like their setup, since we're getting some of these buffs, are not bad, especially because we didn't
Yeah.
anticipate the 50% support to EZA, right?
Yep.
So
Right.
we
That's
have
true.
also STR hit and STR Kaba, which is really good. And there's a situation where, let's say you got them turn one, like you said that rotation earlier. You said STR UI, Blue Falcon Goku, and then the androids. You get that rotation turn one. They take 400k AoE. But then, let's say UI Goku dodges a super attack, you skate to the next rotation. Let's say you have STR Kaba on that rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the fact that he creates the entire keysphere to field to STR, put him in slot one, he full heals you, and then you're good to go.
Yep.
Right?
And then he tanks
Stuff
with
like that can
guards.
happen.
Yeah, very good.
Yep. And then the androids start already having their super attack effect to buff for the 2 turns, start building up, and it helps them quite a lot. Right? That heal helps that team a lot. Right? And maybe if again, like we get maybe a future UI Goku Dokkan Fest or LR, and then he has like that target skill mechanic somehow, and then it helps them avoid even more damage potentially from like these AoEs. So we don't know what's gonna happen, but again, imagine
Yeah.
a team of the androids, Blue Evolution Vegeta EZA, AGO UI Goku EZA, S tier UI Goku EZA. Then you could have the 250% supports or even S tier Blue Falcon Goku on there. And it's like that's a good team, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
a lot of those characters are very tanky or dodge characters. So that'll allow you to preserve your HP for the androids, even in the situation where the AoE. The only time it probably wouldn't work out is Omega, because Omega does 3 of those AoEs, right? But that's pretty
Yeah.
much it. Everywhere else it should be fine. So I like that. Good job.
W. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I think definitely a pretty cool release, right? You might want to consider throwing a couple stones at it, possibly. Yeah, I do agree though with the both of you. It's just so dumb that there's the restriction of the Goku. Like, I don't know. It always makes me think that they're just either they're trying to like spice up the card a little bit and they just don't realize it's not a good decision, or like Omachi really just
Omachi
does
just likes
love
Space
base
Goku.
Goku. I don't know, man. He really must just love the man. He sneaks him in somehow everywhere, I swear.
It just makes you wonder,
Honestly,
like, with all the stuff that we've seen coming up now, it's kind of exactly what we've been saying, right? Like, for Global, we kind of know a little bit about what's coming out for the anniversary. If we do end up getting all of those EZAs that we've talked about, like, it would make sense if they were then the Dokkan Fest that had released, like, after the anniversary or something. And then
Yeah.
their design kind of makes more sense because we just got a whole bunch of like Tournament of Power Gokus and stuff like that.
Right.
Whereas them releasing at the time that they did, and then no other Tournament of Power stuff coming out for like 4 months or whatever it was from whenever they released on JP. Very strange, but
Yeah.
so what I could imagine is what if the post anniversary Dokkan Fest is another Tournament of Power character, and then the androids return on that banner, and it's like, okay, we got all this Tournament of Power EZAs. Here's a brand new Dokkan Fest, and then here's also the Tournament of Power androids returning.
yeah,
It could be.
Like, what if it's like a Dokkan
Yeah.
Fest Caulifla, then it helps out Kale, and then it's like the Tournament of
That'd
Power
be
androids
interesting.
return, right?
I mean, I don't know, like, quite literally, I feel like they should have just made their side banner unit like the Goku that would work well with them.
yeah,
Like, I feel like that wouldn't
Oh,
have
yeah.
been a terrible idea because
That
not
was
only
really
then
bad.
does that incentivize people to summon more, then it's just, another like good Goku in the game.
Yeah,
So, I
because
don't know.
we have very few standalone, just him by himself, like Super Saiyan Blue Gokus. Or at
Yeah,
least,
which is so
ones that are
weird.
relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have made their side banner unit a Blue Goku from the Tournament of Power. Just make him like a slot 1 tank or something, and because they obviously can't really do that. And then it's another example, I guess, because I didn't get up the art for their side banner unit because as far as I remember, everyone from JP saying they're terrible.
Yeah.
But it's another example of that thing that Dokkan has done a couple of times now, where the banner unit is just a unit that doesn't really go with the main unit, which is just odd. Obviously, they're on their team, but they're just not what they needed, which is very strange. Just like Kale getting the Frost instead of getting a Caulifla, like Very, very strange decisions.
What a guy. Shout out to Dontre on that one.
What a guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Such a weird decision. You would think that they would want to give it, because that's just good marketing too. Like, lots of gacha games do that. When a unit needs another character, they can, have like the partner unit on the banner. But anyhow, that is it for our good old global Dokkan. We now move on to our big boy anniversary shenanigans over on the JP version. We have lots to talk about, and we'll have even more to talk about next week, to be honest with you. But for now, obviously, the big news that we got from the fan meetup was that the anniversary units for part 1 are going to be a not dual Dokkan Fest, a dual unit, or a dual unit. How do I say this? How do you say like
Carnival.
the better formatted speech? I don't know how to
say
put like
Dokkan X Carnival, buddy.
Yeah, I guess it's so weird. Either way, though, yeah. So we're getting Super Saiyan Broly into Full Power Broly, which will be the Dokkan Fest in part 1, and then a Carnival Super Saiyan Gogeta, which will go into Gogeta Blue. So obviously, very, very exciting. I know that, of course, we have been speculating for a fat minute about what the anniversary could be and what we personally wanted it to be and all that good stuff. And I think all of us can pretty confidently say we certainly did not expect Dokkan Fest Broly in part 1 on the bingo card.
Crazy.
Absolutely insane. The first extreme anniversary card in 8 years, which is absolutely insane, right? Also the first like DBS Broly LR in a pretty fat minute, and DBS Broly card and all that stuff, in terms of like, big boy card. But obviously this is a very, very exciting choice, I feel, and not only do people really, really like Dragon Ball Super Broly, I know I am definitely pretty excited for it. Now I'll let the boys go first before we go into part 2 stuff, since we don't even have part 1, because obviously there's a little speculation to be had there. But I am very excited for these. I love the Broly movie. It's a fantastic film. So I am pretty excited. What do you two think, Ningen? What do you think about this?
I think it's awesome. I am very hyped for this. I certainly did not expect Broly, as we said, right? They did an extreme anniversary headliner once for the first anniversary, which was Janemba, and then they never did it again after that. So every year, you see when people are talking and speculating, you'll always see someone say like, well, what if they do an extreme unit again? And then they just never do. But yeah, now they are doing that. And more surprisingly as well, and I think it's great because I'm a big fan of that format, we are getting the Dokkan Fest X Carnival format that we saw for the 2022 Worldwide Celebration, which I thought was really good. And then, of course,
I have some thoughts about that as well, but continue.
I think it was not without its issues. Because I think the biggest problem with it was that the part 2 units, the Super Saiyans and then Metal Cooler, were, I would say almost unarguably, were just worse than the part 1 units, which then made it that like the format was still the same, because a lot of the hype behind it, a lot of the thing that people were saying would make this format really good was having a Dokkan Fest in part 2 kind of carries the hype. And you still have like a really good, really strong unit in part 2. But if both the part 2 units are still worse than the part 1 units, then you essentially still have the exact same situation as getting 2 Dokkan Fests and then 2 Carnival LRs in part 2, where it's still just the part 1s are the best ones. So if it's done correctly, I think it's a good idea. I also really like the idea of, you said we'll talk about speculation a little bit. But obviously I like the fact that by having Broly as the Dokkan Fest and then Gogeta as the Carnival, it means obviously we would expect for part 2 that we're going to get a super type unit as the Dokkan Fest and then an extreme unit as the Carnival. And of course, we all know there's a couple of combinations of characters that opens itself up that it could be. But yeah, very, very excited. I would say my only disappointment, which I said, when I covered the reveal of the characters and everything, my only disappointment is that they chose for it to be Super Saiyan Broly that transforms into full power and Super Saiyan Gogeta that transforms into Super Saiyan Blue, because it is obviously basically just an LR run back of their original Dual Dokkan Fest. Obviously, we all wanted like a standalone full power Broly or a standalone Blue Gogeta. But at the end of the day, like those two units, even with their EZA, they're not really like super usable anymore. I mean, most people didn't like Broly's EZA even when it came out. And then Gogeta was usable for a while because of like the ability to dodge. But in some of the more difficult events that are out now, he's kind of like relying on that dodge. Otherwise, he's just getting you killed. So it's not like these units are fighting for contention with the other versions of themselves, right? So I think that's fine. We're definitely going to see some very cool versions of their animations. I actually cannot wait to see like the super attacks and all that kind of stuff. There's still so much stuff we've all been speculating on all week, because of course all we know is the art. And we know, obviously, they're introducing super bosses as a category, so that's going to be one of Broly's leader skills. But that's all we really know at this point. Although I think, actually, wasn't it they mentioned, because I was going by the info from that Goresh breakdown post, that Gogeta's going to have the new taunt like effect thing, which is very interesting. And yeah, he's a Carnival LR, so I guess like so. I think it was the comment from, I think Air Dokkan retweeted a bunch of this stuff, but there was a comment from one of the people that was at the fan meetup. They got to see a preview of the animations, which very strange considering the units are out in like a week from when that show happened. But apparently they were told that the animations were still like work in progress, the ones that they were seeing. But yeah, they were the person.
I think they always just say that though.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
feel like,
but
yeah, they always say that, but and then they also could like when they're adding like they said specifically like adding finishing touches.
Yeah.
So like they're probably like making that key sphere just a little more sparkly like that, right? I don't think it's like we're halfway done.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, to be fair, like. That is what most companies say because they're trying to cover their butt.
Yeah, true. But regardless of what, that probably is the case, to be fair. But yeah, the person who was there and got to see it did report that Gogeta has, I don't know if it said multiple or it just has like a few or whatever the wording was, but some Dokkan original animations, which is what we were all kind of hoping for. So that's
the Gogeta special, baby.
Yeah,
let's go.
That's super exciting. I mean, his art, you can see it's going to change to it now on the screen, but his art there is interesting because it's kind of like the Final Flash pose. So
I
had someone reply in my comments saying it's the Stardust
Big Bang
thing.
I think it's supposed to be the Big Bang Kamehameha.
Yeah,
no, it's the Gallic Kamehameha, because like you guys don't remember like when Vegeta and Goku were doing the Kamehameha and Gallic Gun. And remember in the movie the Gallic Gun is yellow.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
If you look at the 7th anniversary LR card art, I'll put
that's
it in
true.
the chat. It's literally the same effect where it's like how it looks like. Let me. Oh god, I just like almost like breathed and choked in air. Apparently, let me show you up real quick.
Bro, so let me pull that up. Also, by the way, speaking of the art, cool little fun fact is that the background Gogeta and Broly are actually renders from V-Jump covers, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, those are awesome.
They are awesome. I love that they've been doing that, by the way, where instead of like for the transformations of characters recently, well, I guess maybe not even recently, it's been for a little while, instead of just like making a full card art version, or well, they kind of do actually, for a lot of them. I was gonna say basically what I should say is instead of having the transformation art just be the art behind the character, they make an entirely different like transformation art, which is really cool. And not to mention, most of the time we still get like a full card art version of the background transformation art, because nowadays we have these card arts where the card art will just transition into that, right? Like the screen will flash and then the character's like full transformation will be on the screen, and they still have another art after that, which is crazy. So That is pretty cool. But yeah, indeed, Vegeta does have a yellow Gallic on there, so that would definitely make sense. And obviously referencing that scene in the movie. So it'll be pretty cool to see. Yeah, I'm very excited for that. Minato, did you have anything to add before? I will throw my hat in the ring on the Carnival thing and the Dokkan Fest thing, but
So actually, personally, I wanted Broly to be the Dokkan Fest and Gogeta to be the Carnival.
Mhm.
That's what my prediction was. To be honest, I was like, because we already have like a Dokkan Fest LR Gogeta, but we don't have a Dokkan Fest LR Broly, and I feel like it would make sense, especially if they're bringing Broly for the anniversary, that they would give him the Dokkan
Yeah.
Fest LR, and that did happen, right? Especially because him having 3 leader skills would be good. I'm gonna cope. This is pure cope.
Do
That
it.
he has big bad bosses.
Yes.
I'm coping.
Please.
I hope so.
I will
I hope
cope.
so.
Okay, and then when it doesn't happen, I will cry on stream live. But I don't care. When it does happen, I'm gonna shove it in everyone's faces that are like, they won't give him big bad bosses. I'm gonna be like,
I hope they do.
you know,
Look, at
I'm
the end
gonna
of the
stare
day,
at you.
right? We said this before. I'm sure we said it on the last episode, but you can never say never, right? Anniversary
never.
Super Saiyan 4
Never say
Gogeta got
never.
given Saiyan Raw when no
Yep.
other Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta has Saiyan Raw. So if they're ever gonna give a unit a link, even though the previous versions don't have it, then it's because they're the headliner of an anniversary. Seems like a pretty good
Yep.
reason, right? So
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's a thing where I feel like I'll just say, if you want to have a safe expectation, don't expect it.
yeah, exactly.
But I'm gonna be coping because I won't care either way. I love Broly. So at the end of the day, I'm still gonna
Understandable.
summon and use them, right? So I'll be fine either way. But I'm gonna cope personally. That's gonna be so awesome, right?
Yep.
Now I don't know if we're gonna talk about his team, but he is a new category leader as well for it seems like super bosses, which that category looks like it sucks. So
Yeah.
imagine he's super bosses leader and he doesn't have even big bad bosses. It's like he doesn't even work with the good
Yeah.
That would be so dumb.
It just like and then if Broly trio easy ace, and then it's
Goated.
like Broly trio easy ace for him. Imagine that, and then they can't link together. They'll share like one link, like they'll share like legendary power in first battle. Like this guy, it would be very nice to give him big bad bosses for those kind of reasons, but we'll see what happens there. Blue Gogeta again, he's doing the Galley Kamehameha, looks pretty sick, and I'm excited to see the original animation.
Yep.
Apparently, from what Goresh said, it's not 100%, but we know these guys are transforming cards.
Mhm.
Based on the wording, it's almost like, because they say transform when conditions are met, and it didn't specify that they're going to transform with an active skill. So it is possible they're just a normal transformation rather than an active skill transformation. And that's fine. The only thing I wouldn't like about that is that normal transformations don't have voices, right?
True.
They could
Right.
they can give them a voice, right? You know, but
They can. I mean,
we'll
they've
see.
done that for there. I think wasn't. Pretty sure it was Vegeta. Like Vegeta and Nappa got something where it was
Yeah.
like normally an animation that wouldn't get a voice. Got
And then
one,
the,
so they can do it. But
Wait,
the
really?
Super Saiyans from worldwide.
yeah, they
Yeah.
had I
The
forget.
exchange.
Yeah, the exchange. Yeah,
Okay.
because usually the exchanges don't have voices, but then they gave one to them. You know the Vegeta, what are you doing? I have no use for a Saiyan that can't move.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Even if they did have the passive transformation and it isn't voiced, you would imagine that they would back that up with. They're probably going to have intros and like active skills, right? that are gonna
Yeah,
be
I would
voiced
think
and
that they
stuff,
would
so,
for sure.
And
the other thing
one
as
thing
well,
we
I
should
would like
talk
to
about-
see. What do you think about the possibility of one, probably not both, but one or both of them having the having a domain with like the shatter dimension? I think that would be
That would be
awesome.
amazing.
both of them having the domain could be good because
I hope they
characters,
do. Yeah.
multiple characters can have the same domain. Proton did
Mm.
confirm that previously, so they could both have that shattered dimension domain.
That'd be amazing.
And they did confirm that Gogeta is getting the new target skill mechanic.
Yep.
That was confirmed in the live stream itself.
Yeah, I
So
said that.
expect Gogeta to have it. Oh, you did say that, my bad. I must have missed it then.
That's all right.
But yeah,
That's
it's definitely
crazy.
expect
I
Gogeta
know,
to
right?
have that for
This
sure.
guy.
I want to bring it up because it's a good new mechanics still, right?
Nah, we're just pulling your leg.
Bro was
well,
not listening.
Sometimes, like when Ningen talks, I phase everything out because he yaps.
Oh,
I do be yapping apparently.
Dude, we all yap. That's what this podcast is about.
True.
Like,
That is true.
we're like what 40 minutes in. But I would say that when it comes to the banner unit, I think it'd be cool to get a golden Frieza from the movie or like a final form Frieza. Like my idea is like imagine a banner unit and then it's like a Frieza and Paragus card. And then the revival, they have a revive skill where Frieza kills Paragus.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be funny. and then,
Bro,
and then it gives like a buff to the, or like maybe it's an active skill where he kills Paragus and gives a buff to the entire team. If there's like a brilliant team or something, and then maybe the revive is him going golden against Broly, right? When Broly's like punching him into the crater, and then he's like, "I'm good in Frieza," right? You know, and he just like does that. Right?
Dude, the JT.
I remember when he said that.
Crazy if there's a
Dude, yeah, Broly, dude. In fact, I hope they use that Broly and Paragus card.
Yeah, dude, I was looking at it the other day though, because obviously I did a video about like who could EZA in part 1, but like, man, that it's going to be so wonky depending on what leader skill they give Broly. So I figure maybe we could get your thoughts, or all of our thoughts, obviously, on both of their leader skills a little bit, because super bosses, obviously, there's a bit more stuff on there that we maybe wouldn't have expected, like the Cauliflas and stuff like that are on there. Kefla, of course, and that. But like Paragus and Broly, the card won't be on super bosses. So if there are the only two categories they're on is like pure Saiyans and joined forces, which means unless Broly gets a pure Saiyans leader skill, because he's not going to have joined forces because he's just a unit by himself, like they're not even going to be on his team, which is really awkward. Because I thought like a leader skill combination for him that could be quite interesting would be to have movie bosses alongside super bosses, because then you have like all of the big bad guy villains like all on the same team, and then the plus 30s can be things like transformation boosts and stuff like that, right? So you get a few of those villains on there, and it means you get people like Golden Frieza, who's not on super bosses and is just on movie bosses, included in the leader skill, which I think would be pretty cool. But yeah, what do you think for like his leader skill that we could see?
That's a good idea. I definitely think that like an basically all encompassing villain's leader skill would be cool. I mean, yeah, that's tough because it's like, Dokkan loves to do these funny shenanigans where like units just like kind of don't fit on the team sometimes, even though they really should. And I don't even know like, realistically what else they could give him. I mean, obviously, if they're going to give him super bosses. I mean, I don't think that they would probably just like repeat some of his previous ones. I kind of hope that they wouldn't do that. Like, I hope they wouldn't give him full power or something. Even though obviously I'm sure it could.
I think Exploding Rage is a team that hasn't had a new leader for quite a while.
That's a decent one. Exploding Rage is definitely not too bad of a choice. I think it still only... Surely it must be someone else besides just Beerus, right?
Path to Power Kid Goku has one, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, my thought is having him as a leader for, obviously, super bosses, transformation boosts, because he will be a transforming character, and then Gifted Warriors. The reason why I'm thinking Gifted Warriors is because that doesn't have a 200% leader skill, firstly. Secondly, we can get some of these like evil Vegetas on the team, like the 50% support Vegeta, and we could also get Ma Junior on the team with that, right? So we're getting Ma Junior and the 50% support Vegeta there from Gifted Warriors. Transformation boost gives us like Zamasus, all the Golden Frieza, Cell, Boo. There's a ton of villains. Then obviously Super Bosses gives us all the evil bad guys from Dragon Ball Super, and then we can get like a lot of the a lot of villains on that specific category team. in the case that they don't give him like extreme class, right? You know, I think that would
Yeah.
probably work out the
What do
best.
you guys think? That was one of the things that I thought about. I think someone might have mentioned it in one of my streams as well. And unfortunately, I think it was after I'd made the video talking about their leader skill, so I hadn't really thought about it. But imagine if for the Dokkan Fest, because obviously Glogita is going to have a 200 with just one 200% lead. Well,
Mhm.
who knows? Maybe he'll be the first Carnival LR that has two. But I
Maybe.
think it will just be the one. He'll have one 200% lead, but what if Broly in part 1 and then whoever the one in part 2, because obviously they're going to be super class, right? So what if Broly has 2 or 3 categories, like we said, you know, maybe they are super bosses, transformation boost, and gifted warriors, and then his plus 30% is to extreme class, and then the
That could
part
be good.
2 is plus 30% to super class, because they would be almost like those teams would be ridiculous, right? Because we're not going to go over 200% or anything like that, but that
Yeah.
would be kind of like the new, because we're not going to see that very often outside of the anniversary, right? It's not like we're then going to get a bunch more Dokkan Fests afterwards that are going to have that as well. But yeah, I think imagine if the 30% was extreme, and then you can just throw a couple of categories on as his 170, and then all the villains on those categories on that team will all get the 200% leader skill. Like, that would be super good. But
One
be
thing,
dope.
I haven't seen anyone bring up, and I actually, in a video I pre-recorded already, I was gonna upload it after the podcast. But I'll just say here, is the fact that what if they have a part of their leader skill as types, right? Because we just got the 60% support units.
Mm.
So what if they also have a type to their leader skill specifically? So what if imagine Blue Gogeta doesn't lead a category, but he leads Super AGL and Super Int for 200%.
That would be wow.
And then it's like those specific like
We going back to the type era, baby. Let's go.
and then it's like, oh, you get Gogeta Blue, that type banner is only up for 15 hours. Go on.
That's
right?
true.
And then it's like that could be interesting because obviously it would have to be like 2 types, like AGL and Int. So that you have a mono AGL team, but then if you're running against a tech boss, you have a type advantage like slot that you can put other characters to help protect yourself, right? If we go types, it could be like maybe Broly could be like, I don't know, 2 category leader skills, and then like a type. So like, what if it's like again super bosses, transformation boost, then it could be his own type. So like, let's say if he's STR, extreme STR, right? Or if he's like AGL, extreme AGL, or something like that, right? That could be interesting. I think. I think that obviously, it would be fun and it would be different than the usual category stuff, which is why I'm really open to something like that, right? I think that'd be very, very awesome. But what do you guys think?
That'd be interesting. I don't know. Yeah, it'd be straight. I guess it would be interesting because it's so it's like he'd have 2 categories, then like let's say it was extreme STR, and then obviously still have and then plus 30% to this particular thing. I mean, it'd be kind of cool if because obviously we'd hope that they would plan releases and stuff around these kind of things, because then you'd be able to put characters who are from that specific typing but not any of his categories on the team, and some of those options would obviously be quite good. It's interesting. I personally don't think that it would happen, but it would be interesting to see how they would do that. But
what they could do as well is that they could make it the 3 categories with the 200%. Then, like Zamasu and the Blue Vegetos, it's like for Broly, 3 Keen 150% to that specific extreme class typing, so that he still has 3 category leaders. And then, if you want some sub options for another typing, it could be like, let's say, I don't know, again, Broly's extreme STR, or just even just STR. What if it's just STR, and you're going to run super STR units there, and then you could put like GT Duo or Bulma on the team, right? I think that'd be cool, right? Because we got the Worldwide Celebration LRs that have the extra 150% 3 key. And I feel like it would make sense if they want to do something like that again. And a perfect opportunity could be the type characters, right? Or because we are getting their EZAs. And I feel like with them getting an EZA and an event, I think that's my personal thing, is that they're going to bring them back more often than they would. Because or they might even be like in the unfeatured pool. We don't know.
We'll see.
The anniversary banner, if they're unfeatured on the anniversary banner, then obviously we know, right? But I think that could be cool. Even if Gogeta is like again a 200% category, then what if he's also like 170% or 150% to his type?
That would be interesting. I mean, it'd be weird because like I think I would definitely be down for it because it's weird. It's like it offers more like versatility in a way because obviously you would be able to run characters that normally you wouldn't be able to run on the team simply because they are that type. But I think obviously since a lot of people expect it to be categories and not to mention obviously, you know, characters on the same category a lot of the time tend to fit together, you know, not always. You know, obviously then that's kind of an L. And I feel like maybe the general populace might not be a fan of that because obviously it's kind of the expectation of that 200% leader skill.
I think the only thing that makes it a bit of a weird one, because obviously I think the having like plus 30% to super extreme for the Dokkan Fest is like a unique thing that they can do. So even if they don't do it again for a while, that's like, you know, it's just a cool thing to have for like the anniversary headliners. But I think if you give like the Dokkan Fest exclusive LR, you know, 2 categories and then 170 to a typing, then it's like we potentially won't see that again until the next Dokkan Fest LR. And then it potentially takes like 2 years to even get all 5 typings as part of that new leader skill like format.
Right.
So,
and not to mention if they do super and extreme like versions of them.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea, but I think in practice it would be, I don't know how they would do it. It could be interesting, but I think with categories now being such a big thing, having mono like typings in the leader skill now, I think is probably not something we would see much anymore. But
probably not.
I think it would be cool if they incorporated it just to make those 50% supports. Like even in TWARs, like again, if it's just an extra part of their leader skill where it's like 3 key 150% to this type. Maybe Dokkan Fest, like they get like the same thing. Who knows?
I think that's cool. Then, like having it just as the addition, like the Zamasu and Blue Boys type thing. Because then, like if Broly, for example, as we said, if it was Extreme STR, then even though, well, actually, I think is Hit on Super Bosses? He is, isn't he? So he'd be on his team. He'd be on his team anyway. But then you could just throw Hit on there, and then that'd be really cool.
I think maybe it would be better than if they just do it like STR.
Yeah. Which would also be good because then if you wanted to build a team with like, you know, Broly obviously is an extreme unit, but he is a Super Saiyan, then that would give you the option for like, you know, you could throw like future Gohan on his team. Because they'll share a few links and stuff, and then he's STR. Obviously, he's not going to be a Super Boss's character, but then he would go on his team and potentially be like quite useful. So I think that could be very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
And then so Gogeta in terms of categories, that's the thing I was going to say. So if let's say Gogeta does just get a straight up 200% leader skill, because I think the big thing that people I know it's something that I've brought up already as a few times is that like things like superheroes and movie heroes, I feel like are way too big, powerful categories. Like when we look at the leader skills that Carnival LRs get, they're usually these kind of smaller categories that aren't, you know. I feel like if he had like movie heroes 200%, that would just straight up be the best team in the game, right? So I was thinking something along the lines of like fused fighters, maybe. Final trump card. Like, what do you guys think?
I think
that would be a good idea. Introduce a Gallic Gun category and then do dual Kamehameha Gallic Gun. There you go.
No, he introduces the Gallic Gun category and then his leader skill can be Kamehameha or Gallic Gun 200%. There you go.
So you mean Kamehameha dead weight? Because Vegeta is not good right now, bro. Kamehameha and dead weight. That's crazy. Is there a good Gallic Gun unit? Like it's like
I don't. I mean,
know. Technically, Vegeta and Trunks, right?
I mean, yeah, but like they could be decent, I guess. Right at this point, they're like starting to age out.
They are, but they would be the best one. That's why we need a. We'll save that for the speculations for another episode. But that's why we need a solid Vegeta for Saiyan Day. I'm all on board that train at the moment. But
that would be dope.
Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta that does the green. What was it called?
Final Shine Attack. Yeah, I want to see God Vegeta or Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. But anyway,
they don't even do the Gallic Gun.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think. I think
before. No, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say I think something like Final Trump Card I think is a good one. Kamehameha is definitely interesting. What worst case scenario is it'll be like time limit or could you imagine? I feel like they're going to ignore that category exists now because fused fighters exists. But imagine if its leader skill was just fusion 200%.
That would suck.
Oh man. I mean, the thing
would be
is though,
really
I do think to a certain degree when it comes to the Carnival LRs and yellow coin LRs in general, even normal yellow coin banners, I feel like the majority of the time you're summoning for them to use them on like the other teams that they're on and not so much their leader skills. But even so, we would much rather prefer that he has a an actual good category for the 200%, right? So
Yep, that would be best case scenario.
Yeah. Before we move on from the fine Super Saiyan gentleman, I did want to also just talk about real quick the funny the Carnival banner format.
Yeah, go for it.
So, because obviously we kind of you boys kind of touched on it during the section here a little bit, but so obviously I think that Ningen was absolutely right earlier when he was saying that you know, the whole thing that makes the format so exciting is that obviously the you know, it basically allows for more hype because there's a Dokkan Fest LR in both parts. And the problem with last time was obviously that the second half was definitely not as good as the first, right? I think not only just in terms of like people being excited for the units in general, but also obviously the units' performance and their kit. I think, right, because I have seen quite a few people, this time around, also kind of being like, hey, really, this again? Come on, man. And this is such an interesting banner format for me because I know that when this initially came out for Worldwide last year, I was of the opinion that I really didn't like it. I was definitely not a fan of this format, but it was kind of funny because as time went on, I kind of realized that, like, after summoning on it a bunch, right, and, like, you know, just kind of stewing in it for a little bit, I suppose, I actually realized I really like this format.
Yes. One of us.
I definitely flipped. I changed sides on this one for sure. Because here's the thing, right? Obviously, the fact that they can, you know, then release 2 hype Dokkan Fests and kind of continue the you know, the hype, I think is only a good thing because obviously releasing more exciting units is just, you know, a good thing. I think it also didn't help in terms of, like, you know, people feeling this way because it was brand new last year. Yeah. And obviously when it comes to big changes like this, sometimes people are a little bit more hesitant because, you know, it's new and obviously they're not used to it.
I think I was just going to say, I think a big part of it as well, obviously, not just the fact that it was new, but it was the whole thing about, like, the new coins. A lot of people really didn't like that a new coin was being introduced, which I feel like in hindsight, they probably could have done that slightly differently. And yeah, I think that was a big thing that people really didn't like. But obviously now that Carnival LRs have been around for a while and people have started to summon on them and get some coins, and now it's kind of like the yellow coins have kind of become the ones that are pointless now. I feel like people are a bit more sort of excited for yellow coins. Carnival banners.
Definitely. Yeah. I think the two biggest things that I've heard in regards to this banner format, like just kind of in general, that is like 2 more points of contention, is that 1, it's not good for free-to-play players, and 2, the Carnival banners are kind of stinky in terms of the units that are on them, so they're not as worth summoning on. So that, I think, in terms of the, like, you know, the banner maybe not being that good, I think for the anniversary banner it will be a little bit better, and obviously last time, kind of like we were just saying, since they're brand new, obviously there weren't as many Carnival LRs, and not to mention,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
obviously, a lot of those Carnival units, like, I feel like Carnival units have just gotten a lot better. I obviously there are some that are still a little bit kind of stinky, but, I think that there are still a lot of good ones, and not to mention, right, I still think that the banner can definitely be exciting. And I think just overall, I don't know. This is definitely maybe a little bit of that my inner whale talking a little bit, but like I know in terms of just the format, right? I much prefer this format as well because you also have the opportunity to pick up all of these LRs along the way of trying to get the main unit, which you normally wouldn't be summoning for. And I know also there's an argument to be made. Some people, think that, oh well, the LRs aren't necessarily like crazy good in the unfeatured pool, but there's not a lot of really good LRs, and not to mention a lot of the LRs in the game also have an EZA now, right? So even if the unit isn't particularly good, either they will get an EZA or they may have a pretty decent EZA. And as for the whole thing about the free to play aspect of it, I don't know. I kind of get it. Because obviously it's like, oh, well, before, you could just go all in on part one.
Exactly.
And then you didn't have to worry about part two because obviously, you were confident in the fact that, you used all of your stones on the better units before.
Yeah. Plus, it's like you said, right? The banners, I think, like we said about the coins, the banners being bad was kind of like a almost necessary byproduct of the format being new, whereas obviously now, because there are so many other Carnival LRs in the game now, like the banners will have slightly better units on it because they're going to have those other Carnival LRs, right? Like the part 1 banner, whichever way round they decide to do them, is going to probably have Goku or Gohan, like the anniversary ones. It'll probably have Birdku or Metal Cooler. Metal Cooler arguably is kind of outdated already. Birdku kind of has had, I feel like, a little bit of a comeback. He's not super good in the Dismal Future Red Zone, but with the 200% Super Saiyans team, he's definitely still, like, usable. And then, of course, we know that the, UI Goku didn't get his own EZA banner, did he? So basically that almost like confirms that he's going to be on Gogeta's banner, right? So
in the news, it is confirmed.
Oh, it literally says he is, So straight away,
the
like
banner on the 29th, he will be featured.
Yeah, so straight away you've got new Gogeta, Goku or Gohan, both of which are really good. Then potentially Super Saiyan Goku, who can still be good. UI Goku, and then if you try and think of some other yellow coin LRs that kind of fit in the theme, or maybe can run, be run decently well with Gogeta, you've got characters like the Int God Goku, who has an EZA. Just a bunch of these other LRs like that have EZAs that are either potentially going to be on the. Sort of hoping Future Gohan. Oh wait, that's it. Yeah, exactly. The worldwide celebration LRs. I completely forgot about them. I literally made the video earlier about the banner predictions, and I completely forgot about the Part 2 worldwide celebration LRs. Wow. How could I do this? But
crazy.
Bear in mind again, like Broly and Gogeta, they're both going to be on Super Saiyans, and then either Future Gohan or Trunks is going to be on Gogeta's banner as well. So,
which is wild.
Yeah, the Super Saiyans team. Like, if you're someone who got the LR Super Saiyans at the end of last year, that team is about to get mega juiced by this anniversary.
Songs going up.
Yeah,
because I think
1750, I'm glad I got them.
Oh yeah. I think too. It's like I don't know. I think it's just at least the Carnival banner for the anniversary will definitely be good. Like I can understand people saying that for like stuff that isn't the Annie maybe, but obviously with the point that we're at now, with having a whole year of the Carnival LRs, I think we're cooking. And I will not spend too much time on this because obviously this is just speculation, and of course, we have other things to talk about what we have now. But I figured I would mention it because it relates to the whole Carnival
thing.
Is
it related to who a potential super class Dokkan Fest exclusive could be for Part 2?
Maybe a superhero Perhaps. So obviously with the Carnival format, it is kind of thinking that it is going to be something pretty hype for part 2, because obviously we're going to have a Carnival LR and a Dokkan Festival. And not to mention, even before the part 1 fan meetup happened, which this was kind of crazy. I don't think I've ever seen Bandai do something this facetious. Maybe that's the right word to use here. I don't know. They had the part 2 fan meetup stream scheduled.
Yeah.
Now obviously, right, they've only been doing the fan meetup for like it's only been a year. Yeah, they've only did one last year for A Fanny. Was the first time they did it. And so obviously they have never done one for part 2. They've never done a fan meetup for part 2.
Yeah.
And the fact that they are doing one for part 2 would lead me to believe that the units must be like crazy for part 2 if they are bothering with having another fan meetup. Obviously there are a bunch of signs, of course, with, I'll say this, me, Mr. Gohan Beast, right? Of course, there are plenty of signs. I see a bunch of people in the chat mentioning that the funny hype man, he did the special beam cannon on stage as a little tease for it. The Gohan Beast is gonna, Gohan Beast, is gonna be one of the bosses for Battlefield, right? Obviously as well for that the Blue Zone, as I will be referring to it, which we'll talk about in a bit, the new super class difficult event. That is also going to have some kind of superhero related support memory, because it's called like Gathering of Superheroes or something like that. So there are a bunch of signs pointing to it, right? That is definitely like, it may be cope a little bit, but there is definitely a little bit of evidence pointing to the fact that part 2 could be, Gohan Beast and Cell Max. And not to mention, right, with what Ningen said earlier, right, it is perfect the fact that Broly is the part 1 Dokkan Fest. Which, by the way, I didn't mention earlier, but I'm actually happy about that too. I would much have preferred Broly to be it, since that boy gets no love. But, right, obviously then, it would make sense for part 2 to be flip-flopped, where the hero character would then be the Dokkan Fest, and the villain would be the Carnival LR, and we have talked about even previously on the podcast that Cell Max would make a perfect Carnival LR. He feels like a character to be perfect for that. And obviously, if Gohan Beast is going to be implemented in the game, he has to be a Dokkan Fest LR, I feel like
we said, right, we don't want to spend too long on speculation still for part 2.
That was all I got anyway.
I was just going to say, to add on to that, like, without going too deep into it, but like, it kind of lines up with a lot of the stuff that we said before, where, they're having this second fan meetup thing. Like, it's basically like they're almost trying to say that the whatever that they're announcing for part 2 is basically as hype, if not more hype than part 1. And I think it's something that, like, Truth said in a tweet recently, where it's like, Dokkan knows that they are the only playable game that doesn't have Beast, like, playable Beast Gohan, right? Like, they've got to be releasing a Beast Gohan soon. And so, with the whole, the way it ties in perfectly with the part 2 Dokkan Fest being a superclass character, they're doing a fan meetup thing, all of this big stuff. They're bringing back the Dokkan Fest and Carnival format for this anniversary. Like, what more hype announcement for the majority of the community? Because I know not everybody likes everything, but what more hype, like, an announcement could there be for, like, drumming up all of this fanfare for them to finally announce, like, it's like, hey, you guys thought part 1 was gas? Well, here you go. Beast Gohan in Dokkan original animation, potentially. Like, that would just be insane.
Would have Dokkan original. I would say, though, it's a lot of people are saying Beast Gohan and Cell Max. I would not be surprised if Cell Max is not there. Like, genuinely, for anniversary, I would not be surprised if
I would. Again, well, who else would it be, though?
It could be UI Goku. It could be someone else, right? Because the thing is,
I guess,
like like Broly's still a Saiyan. He's extreme class, but he's still a Saiyan.
Yeah,
Well, he's
true.
also popular.
Yeah, yeah, that's the
So
main
he's
thing.
also mega popular.
Yeah.
Right. So
You know?
so Max, I feel like didn't hit people like that. You know?
No, a
No,
lot of
I do
people
agree
don't
with
like
that.
it,
And I mean,
yeah.
not to mention, considering last year, we were like convinced it was going to be Kid Buu and Omega, and they were like
Yeah.
OST
Dude,
characters.
People are talking about the support memory last year and everything. Like, oh my goodness, the support memory confirms Omega. I remember I was like,
Yeah.
no, let's chill
Yeah.
and wait. Right.
That's why, like, every time, like, I'll be talking to some homies and whatever, or like, just in general conversation about Dokkan, and people are like, this confirms that it's gonna be this character. I'm like, no,
I'm just like
no
not
confirmation.
100% convinced that they would do so Max like for anniversary like that, especially with Carnival Lars. Last year they did Gohan and Goku though. They weren't popular though. Definitely possible. But we also have the Gamma 2 final attack thing.
Yeah.
That's
True.
still not a thing.
I'd be down for that as
So,
well. I
Okay,
would be
I'm
down for
thinking
that as
like
well.
if that's gonna be a Dokkan Fest even this year, then Cell Max would be a perfect part 2 LR to that, right? What if it's like
Yeah.
Tanabata is the Gammas and then Cell Max is the part 2 Carnival LR there, right?
That'd be
I just
cool.
don't want like I think Beast Gohan is coming personally, but if you're like a Cell Max person, you're like, oh yeah, it has to be Cell Max. Like, let's
Oh,
wait
yeah, it
and see.
definitely doesn't have to be.
Remember
The
what,
thing is, as
remember
well,
what happened
though-
with Future Gohan? Like people were like,
Yeah.
oh, Rose's coming. We're saving.
Yeah, well,
we're saving
exactly,
Future
right?
Saga
It was
as
like
possible.
that sort of thing. It's like people are like, oh, it's confirmed, it's Rose, and then here we are.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's not like Cell Max like isn't more hype or least hype than other anniversary choices. It's the fact that like even last year, Kid Gohan and Goku they're Saiyans, right? Broly trio, Broly's a Saiyan, So it's like I'm not sure because the last time they didn't do like Saiyans for part 2 was like 17 and Golden Frieza, pretty much, right? And that
Yeah,
happened during
that
the 6th
fumble.
anniversary.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, no one cared about them
Fumbling.
either. So I just feel like it would make sense to me. Like I would not be surprised if the Carnival arc for part 2 is something that's just not even superhero related. Again, I'm saying they're giving a lot of Turner and Power stuff. I'm still thinking
They are.
that UI Goku is still possible in part 2. It could be Cell Max, but it would make a lot of sense if they bring out UI Goku 200% tournament participants leader. Like I would
Yeah.
not be shocked, right?
I wouldn't be
No,
surprised either.
It's not that you shouldn't be able to expect Cell Max. You could definitely expect Cell Max, but I think I want people to. I think we should be open-minded about it because it's such a large theme.
Oh yeah.
Super, right? Such a large theme that like narrowing it into specific units.
Oh yeah,
like,
it's
except for
crazy.
Beast
I mean,
Gohan, it's different, but
right? Yeah.
I think for the
And I
other
mean,
LR,
people were even like convinced that for part 1 it was gonna be like either like Gogeta or MUI or Beast or Gogeta, and like obviously not because we're sitting here talking about it.
Yeah.
So realistically, like it's just Dokkan loves to throw these curveballs to kind of take you for a loop for what you're not expecting. And
Yeah.
I mean, hey, what's crazy enough is we're talking about all this about like DBS and whatever, but as much as I hate to say it, I feel like it's worth mentioning at least. The fact of the matter is the theme is just super. Realistically, it could be Super Gogeta. Like, because the theme isn't Dragon Ball Super. The theme is just super in general,
Yeah.
right? So,
we saw
as
last
much as I
year-
hate to say that, because I don't
What you're
Arab
saying,
theme.
what you're saying is part 2 Carnival LR Super Saiyan Hercule confirmed.
Yes, sir, dude. Is it bad that I'd kind of be down for that?
I mean, I even see people bring up like, what if they put Rose as a part 2 LR? Like,
Yes,
Dude,
Super
I've
Saiyan
seen
Rose.
people saying that. Listen, he'll get redemption for Worldwide.
But I mean, Toon said something in the chat as well. It's like they're introducing the super bosses category. I don't think even if we did get Cell Max as the part 2 Carnival LR, he would have 200% for super bosses. But it would make sense for the part 2 to have an extreme character who is on super bosses, or even if they're not extreme, like it could be, again, if we're talking about Saiyans and stuff like that, it could actually be like a Carnival LR Kefla who would be on super bosses, right, and therefore be on Broly's leader skill, be a Saiyan, so would have
That'd be
links
wild.
with him. Like,
I would
yes.
say, I agree that makes sense. However, Kid Gohan,
What about Kid Gohan? Wait,
Kid Gohan last year? Spirit Bomb thing, right?
well,
He said,
yeah,
Kid Gohan.
exactly.
Well,
but
yeah.
I'm just
but
saying, like, I'm just
Don't
saying,
expect out of the way,
it's
right?
one of those things. I guess, yeah, Dokkan. We always used to think that we'd have these connections between the part 1 and part 2, and then even the two characters opposite each other. Because by part 1 being Broly and Gogeta, it kind of like creates that expectation that the part 2 characters will be linked or characters who fought each other. But it doesn't necessarily mean it actually will be, right? So it's one of those things that we, at the moment, we just don't know. So.
Again, nothing's confirmed until it happens, but hey, they gave us some Max, that'll be cool. Big bad bosses, movie bosses, and what's it called? Super bosses buff specifically. So that'd be awesome. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see. All right. Well, I believe it is time to move on. We will obviously we'll know more about part 2 when that comes in February. I believe that is like in the middle-ish or towards the end of the month. But
and of
before
course,
we move,
next episode we'll have the characters in the game. So
yes, we will also have obviously the part 1 characters in the game by the next episode. So look forward to that because obviously that will be very fun to talk about all that. That episode, I'm sure, is going to be a very beefy episode. So be excited for that one. But before we move on, obviously, from Anniversary in its entirety, we did have a pretty cool little thing with the brand new login bonus Gogeta. This guy right here is very, very interesting because he is the first login bonus TUR as well. He is also going to be getting a EZA. Which we know because he had a sticker in the data download. And obviously the units that get stickers have one.
You're so silly, Dokkan Assets. He's the second anniversary TUR.
He is? Who else?
The second anniversary Super Saiyan 2 Goku, Dokkan awakened.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he's in Awakening.
That's true. Yeah, he awakened from the first one.
Dokkan Assets.
Well, no. That is a that would be like a Dokkan Awakened TUR. This is just a normal TUR.
What do you mean?
It's not the same thing.
Yeah, it's still. You said TUR. You didn't clarify. Tisk.
That's fair. Look
at this.
Well, when I say TUR, that's what I mean.
Tisk.
But fair enough. You got me there.
All right, but
outrageous.
Yeah, I mean, I want to clarify. A lot of people thought that this guy stacked dodge. He doesn't stack dodge.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
9% dodge stack, right?
Yeah, doesn't that? I haven't actually checked out any of the like the showcases for his card, but is he any good? Because I thought with the stacking dodge, like he could actually be kind of crazy, but otherwise not so much.
Sucks.
Oh, well, there you go. It's a shame because like obviously the login cards, they're more so like a trophy kind of thing where it's like I was there for the anniversary, so here's the card. But like I remember last year for the Spirit Bomb Goku with the Shenron in the background, I did a level 10 links like showcase for him, and as far as free to play units go, like he was okay, but it's kind of disappointing if this guy is not so good. But
well, the issue is that he's getting an EZA, so they didn't make him good.
Oh well, yeah, I suppose that is true, right? So if he's getting an EZA, I guess it kind of doesn't really matter if he sucks at the moment, but
he should be good in the first place.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know.
He gets 99% crit when he gets 9 key spheres. What do they make that crit and dodge?
Could you imagine?
99% crit and dodge chance when you get 9 key spheres.
I mean, 9 key spheres is a pretty big requirement, but that would be damn crazy. Like, would he be the best for, like, you'd have to obviously try and work him around running him with like orb changes and stuff, but he'd be like the best free to play unit in the game, I would imagine, if that was the case.
Yeah,
probably. It'd just be funny.
Yeah, it would. But yeah, so what, like, doesn't he has a weird leader skill, doesn't? What's his leader skill? I can't remember now.
It's like a 19% attacking defense per key obtained, which is weird. It's like he has he has a sticker, but then his already all around based about 9. So like, what are they gonna do? Are they not? They might like would they just not update the leader skill or like the super attack effects or like maybe passive? Because it's already all themed around 9. Are they just gonna add something to his passive and just not update anything else?
They'll just add another 9, baby.
9% chance to do an additional super attack. per superhero or movie heroes category, I'll end the turn or the team. Bam.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they'll do.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
I will
weird.
say, obviously with me being the funny animation man, I will say I was so disappointed with this fool, bro, because they just gave him a generic
Oh,
Kamehameha,
what?
and I was like, man, if this guy's gonna be like an easy-able unit, right, and like potentially usable, why would they not give him a better super attack that just like? And I'm not even talking like modern Kamehameha. I'm talking like year
Oh
one
no,
Kamehameha, basically.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It's just
No,
it's the
it's not
basic of the
year one.
basic.
It's like the free to play Gogeta from the Broly movie.
Yeah.
so yeah, that's a bit disappointing.
Which is really dumb. Like I was like, surely if he's gonna have an easy A, they would give him something cool. But no, it's just and like I get it because the box trophies you don't really use them, but still, I was just like, come on, man.
Come
That
on.
would be nice.
Oh man. So that is a little bit unfortunate, but pretty cool. And obviously, this is also the first time that technically, right, Goku has not been on the anniversary card. Obviously, it's Gogeta, so it's just
True.
Goku and Vegeta. But right by the technicality, this is the first card that hasn't had Goku just like plastered on it. So that is pretty cool. It will also be interesting to see what they do for next year for the background, because obviously they were doing the fingers and then they were doing the Dragon Balls. And now they're doing Shinron in the shape of it, but I don't know how they would contort Shinron to be in the shape of 10.
I saw people making art where it's like
Yeah.
Vegito that like cut Shenron's head, and
Yeah.
then it's like Shenron's head's cut as a zero, then the rest of his body.
No, I thought, but I think we
one
talked
of
about
the
this
zero.
the other day. But like, because you just literally you'd have Shenron coming up from like the bottom of the card, right? So you'd have his
Yeah.
head on one side of the person, and then the other side of the person, you just have like his tail curled around into a zero. But
Yeah.
So what do you think? They're just as like just as a random one-off. Like, so does that mean the 10th anniversary free-to-play login card is going to be a base Vegito, or is it going to be Super Saiyan
Ooh,
Gogeta, and then we're going to
base
get Blue
Vegito.
Gogeta, and then
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
Base Vegito.
Yeah.
Honestly,
that.
that'd be awesome. And I mean, not to mention, obviously, with with our speculation of it being the fusions for next year, that would be perfect.
True, yeah,
What if 10th
exactly.
anniversary is the double Vegito anniversary?
That'd
That
be
would
crazy.
be awesome. Best
Yeah.
anniversary ever for sure.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that bad boy in the future. But yeah, very cool though. And obviously it's cool just to kind of have like a free Gogeta in the box, and the art is nice as well. But besides that, speaking of free units, we have the brand new free to play. Excuse me, the free to play is taking me over right now. Apparently, the brand new free to play Frieza and Beerus. Obviously, the Frieza being from the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie from the beginning, where he gets first introduced to the Saiyans, and King Cold's like, "This is your new leader." Which is pretty cool because his SSR art has actually been in the game for a really long time. It has been a part of the Dragon Ball Super Broly story event for many, many years now. And they decided to break it out of the old vault and make that bad boy a free-to-play card, so that's pretty cool. And as well, we know that he already has a TUR with a sticker too, because they put it in the data download, even though ironically enough they didn't announce that yet. Good job, Dokkan, accidentally leaking your own stuff as always. But as well, we also have Beerus, right, which is the other free-to-play card.
Oh, nice.
And Beerus is the sleepy Beerus. My boy's... and this bad boy, at the moment, he is only a TUR. We do know that from the like his potential system and how things roll with these anniversaries and whatnot, that he should be the free to play LR. It will be interesting to see what he actually Dokkan awakens into, because of course there is quite literally no indication really. People are thinking it might be just like sleepy Beerus from when he wakes up in the beginning of Battle of Gods. So that would be pretty cool. But the other interesting thing too is putting my funny animation analysis glasses on again. They also gave this guy a fat load of nothing. Thankfully,
no.
Frieza has a pretty cool essay. It's more akin to like a Super Strike essay, where it's like it doesn't have a background, but it's like a more modern-esque
Yeah.
animation. So that's pretty cool.
I suppose that's cool. Like
Beerus,
if he's going to be awakened into an LR, then I guess his like UR super attack doesn't really need to be good,
So,
right? Yeah.
doesn't really matter.
It was
right?
confirmed that he was going to awaken to an LR already because he
Oh,
had
okay.
normal potential stats, right?
Gotcha.
And
Yeah. So he unfortunately, right, just has the generic like make a bunch of Hakai balls and then kick them.
Right.
So I assume that obviously that won't be his 12 key because a lot of the time with these the free to play LRs, they just make the 12 key super the TUR super as well, or like a shorter version of what the 12 key will be ends up being the TUR super. So only from that perspective, I think it's kind of weird that it's just a generic super, and obviously it doesn't really give us any hints as to necessarily like from that perspective anyway what the the final card will be because it's just generic. So, with all of that being said, those are our free units for the anniversary. So I know Minato, you're dying to speak over there. Tell us what's
up.
up.
To say about Beerus specifically is that I'm fairly confident he's going to be Nightgown Beerus because I'm not sure if you saw, but we had an asset for the Nightgown Beerus, a brand new asset, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. That's going to be Nightgown Beerus. Along with that, the names of his card, the titles of his card, like I could read it out here, but they're all about sleeping. So,
a man after my own heart.
Beerus is a lazy god of destruction SSR. The TUR sleepiness caused by too much free time and is yawning. So I'm assuming what's gonna happen is that when he awakens, he's gonna be like the Nightgown Beerus. And then that acid we saw could be part of a super attack. And that's why his TUR animation isn't good because his LR animations are gonna be with the
different sprite. Yeah.
Right, and everything.
Sprite,
right.
Right.
So that's
that would make sense.
I could see that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. And then I guess the Frieza himself, he does have a new animation, which makes sense. We do have his TUR art. I think did you mention that? I don't know.
Yes, we do have his TUR art. If he is getting a new super for the TUR, that is not in the game yet, unless it is obviously just going to be the SSR super. But the SSR super is in the game, but only the TUR art is currently in the game at the moment. So
yeah. And again, right now, obviously, they all kind of suck. But Frieza is a super boss's support. So if he awakens, he's like really good defensively and becomes a good super boss's support. I would like that quite a bit. But we'll have to wait and see how he ends up being. Beerus, again, right now he also sucks, but a lot of times, especially since he's gonna get an LR and likely an EZA in part 3.
Yeah.
I would assume that he's gonna get a lot, of course, added to his kits. Usually, TURs to LRs a pretty big jump in the passive as well. And keep in mind, usually the anniversary LRs have the new mechanic, so he'll likely have the target skill mechanic, right? And it makes sense because his passive, he already gets 10% attack per attack received. So obviously, it makes a lot of sense if he has the target mechanic, and then he builds up stats from receiving those hits. Because all the attacks will be guided towards him. So
what's what would you speculate then? What's his what will that like animation be? What will be the reason why he has the like taunt ability type thing? What's
I mean, maybe
that's a good question
because there might not be an animation for it, right? Maybe it's just like
I suppose, but
because I was gonna say we don't know how the
that'd be super disappointing.
How the mechanic works yet. That would be disappointing. I mean, I don't know. Being the animation guy, I'm always down for more stuff, but it would be kind of weird to introduce an entirely new mechanic for it to not have some kind of like crazy animation.
Yeah, because unless it just activates
part of, like, the active skill.
Yeah, because
it could be an effect that something activates.
Well, that'd just be so boring.
Well, I guess,
and it's like, what's the point? Just add it to the passive at that rate.
There's nothing
or the active, whatever.
Right, there's nothing in the data that is with you activating it. We just have the target skill like icon,
right?
Yeah.
So there's like no like new thing added.
I suppose it's the thing is it's a mechanic, isn't it? So it can be. It will just be. It won't necessarily be that it is a thing that exists separately on its own. It will be a thing that like the character has an active skill. So you swipe up and you get an animation, and just like say Super Trunks, for example, where his active skill is an attack and it is also a Ghost Usher, then obviously the new mechanic will be their active skill will be the taunt mechanic will activate or whatever, right?
Right.
Yeah,
So,
right. And maybe another effect.
yeah,
Maybe he
'cause-
gets like an extra 50% reduction or something,
Mm.
and then he targets all enemies towards him during the active skill when he's sleeping. Like maybe we'll just be like,
that would be so funny if like his
That
active
would
skill is
be
it's literally like
awesome.
swipe up to go to sleep.
That
yeah.
would be
And then,
awesome.
or it could be a standby skill even, right?
Yeah,
It could also
yeah.
be standby. But that'd be cool. And then that could be something like a Kid Buu can get, right?
Yeah.
That'd be
Um,
cool.
There's a lot of like
Straight
potential like in
sleeping on
terms
him.
of animations with like a taunt kind of ability.
Mm.
Which it's still like I don't really mind that like it's like with an active skill or standby, or like not with something brand new rather than active standby skill, because like what would they do? Would you like tap the top of the screen 3 times? Like,
well, because otherwise the only other way it would work,
Sideways.
unless it's attached to an active skill or standby, the only way it would work is that it would just activate at like the start of the turn, and then that's kind of like at the start of a specific turn when a condition has been met, which is kind of boring. So I think it being just a new effect that can be caused by an active skill or a standby, I think is probably the way that makes the most sense, because then obviously you can have an animation coupled with it as well and everything.
Yeah.
So.
And you could choose when you can use it.
Yeah, exactly. Because for that kind of ability, you definitely don't want it. Because imagine you get a turn. I know it's not very often, but like imagine you get a turn where almost all of the attacks are right where you want them anyway, and then the ability just goes off because it's like, oh, it just goes off on turn 4. It's like, oh, I really didn't want to use it on this turn. So
yeah, because I mean, like. That, I will say that would be interesting to see how it works, because obviously for units who need to get hit to build up, that would suck for them if they're about to get a bunch of good hits. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, yoinky spoinky, no more. So,
yeah,
but yeah, that would not be great.
There's definitely a lot of interesting moments that we could see. I can't wait to see actually in game, because obviously we mentioned the fact that Gogeta has one, but like his is obviously going to be just one of those moments from the fight, I assume, where he's taunting Broly in some way, shape, or form, and it's going to be so good. I can't
imagine
wait.
it's like the domain for Gogeta is what activates the target skill. Like that could be interesting.
That'd be interesting.
Or it could just be a separate animation, right? But because I mean, we see Gogeta when he's like even at the beginning of the fight, he's like come, right, and he's like doing that little pose.
Yeah.
Or like when he actually knocks Broly out of dimension, he does like another little pose, and then like Broly charges right at him. So that could be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. Because wasn't it the it's like kind of like the pose that's in the background of his pre-transformed art, isn't it? Like it's is it one of those ones?
Well, that here,
actually
kind of a little bit, but it's more so here, let me see if I can find it. I don't know if you can throw this up on screen. Let me see.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of that pose, right? A little bit, but that's more from the promotional material. But
I can just
hold on. Let me find it.
I can put up the card art for them again as well.
Let me find it. Yeah, here we go. Oh, that's a terrible. That's a terrible quality image. Hold on. Let me give you something a little better to look at here. So, why is, well, that cover isn't insanely high quality, but I suppose it'll do. This is what Gogeta's pose is based off of.
Yeah. And then Annie posted this on Twitter. This GIF is like what I'm thinking about right here.
That's the kind of thing I was thinking of, Yeah, I'll just put that link in the chat because it's easier than trying to get it up on the actual thing. That. But yeah, I'll put the link to the tweet in the chat. So this potential GIF could definitely be what we could see. I think that would be quite cool.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
I definitely agree.
But yeah, so definitely interesting choice for Beerus. I mean, we've been waiting for like a good new Beerus unit as well. So I imagine though, unfortunately, he's one of those characters that's in a similar annoying situation as Piccolo, where it's probably not going to have a new name. I doubt he's going to be called like Beerus brackets Nightgown or something, right? So it's
that'd be awesome though.
Imagine if it was literally like Beerus brackets Sleepy. It's just got a different name.
Beerus unconscious, something like that. That would be sick. Unconscious control? I don't know. You know, he's got ultra instinct while he's sleeping. Something. I don't know. But yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Dodge. I mean, what if he has guaranteed dodge during that? That could be crazy.
That would be so funny, dude. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we'll see what they do with them. I'm excited to see though. I will say, the cool thing about you know, these two units in terms of like the character choice, and I think also just kind of a benefit of the theme being so open-ended, is that, you know, the characters can be anything, and it's interesting that they pick something from Dragon Ball Super Broly, right? And something that like maybe isn't from Dragon Ball Super Broly, right? Because obviously it could realistically just end up being any Beerus moment, even though it'll probably be when he first wakes up. But you know, it's kind of cool that they chose something that is like not that connected, but still fit with the theme. I feel like,
yeah, exactly.
Because I like when stuff is themed, but
I guess if you think about it, like when you think about back to the beginning of Battle of Gods, like Beerus is really like, for a lot of people, of course, you know, it was before Dragon Ball Super the series, so it was the first real big like new thing that we got, and Beerus was like the first new character, essentially the first major new character that was introduced. So with the overall theme being like Dragon Ball Super, I think it is kind of cool and quite fitting for like Beerus to be the actual like anniversary LR. I think that is pretty cool. So
absolutely. Yeah, I'm definitely.
We still need a Hakai Beerus in the future.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
True. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Yeah, I'm honestly like, I don't know. I'm kind of surprised they haven't done that yet, if I'm being 100% honest. But I don't know. Maybe they're just like waiting for the right time or something. But then again, I feel like we say that every other day when it comes to shenanigans and Dokkan. So I don't know. But either way, though, yes, very exciting for the free-to-play cards, obviously. As the celebration continues, we will, you know, get more information about those guys. And not to mention, right, Frieza will also get an EZA himself because obviously he has a sticker. So he will also, you know, be getting a little bit better than he is now, too, even when he gets the TUR. So that'll be pretty cool. But with all that being said, we will go ahead and move on from the free-to-play units to the brand new events that we are going to be getting for the anniversary. And of course, as I teased a little bit before, and you know, as I don't want to say, you know, as I prophesized, but you know, I've been like joking about a blue zone forever. And you know, it's not actually called the blue zone, but the event is blue, and you do fight super class enemies. So I'm calling it the blue zone. Dang it! We have a brand new difficult event that is going to be based around, facing super class enemies, which obviously is something that we have been basically begging for, I feel like, for like years now, because obviously there's so many units that could benefit from having an event like that, you know, to fight against. And not to mention, it's just cool, you know, just being able to fight the Saiyans is just dope. So there are a couple of other events that have been announced as well. Obviously, the events for, you know, Frieza and Beerus and, you know, whatever other shenanigans. So, Minato, I know you probably got the list pulled up. What else do we got on the chopping block?
So again, I do want to talk about this new difficult event. The actual name for it, you know, Blue Zone. It's called Supreme Battle Spectacle. I do like how Blue Zone sounds better though. Like I might, but I'll probably like Supreme Battle Spectacle is what it's called. And again, essentially, we're fighting against these super class enemies. We don't know how hard it's going to be. We do know that there's limited events, though, which there's limited like attempts, right? It's funny because it's like, oh, we have unlimited events for limited attempts for Red Zone now during anniversary. Woo! And it's like, well, this isn't Red Zone, buddy. It's a different one.
Yep.
So
they said, LOL.
LOL. New event. So you have 5 attempts a day, right? There are 3 stages that are going to come out on the 29th, basically for the most part, for most people. And it seems like there's a God Goku fight, a blue Vegeta fight, and a blue Goku fight. Based on what I'm understanding, they are actually all like just short events, so like like 1 or 2 phases or so. So again, it's kind of like very similar to how Red Zone is. Hopefully, there's a longer event that's introduced. That would be nice. We also do know that there are going to be 2 new stages added to the Ultimate Red Zone Movie Edition too.
Yeah.
Because in a
cool.
mission, we got confirmed that you have to clear stage 7 of the event, which we only have stage 5. Just I mean, this is something I'm gonna glow about predicting. I was like, what if we get a Beerus and Golden Frieza stage for the anniversary, since it's themed around Super for
Yeah.
this movie Red Zone? And what do you know? I called it.
W.
Pick up that phone,
Somebody
man.
better pick up that phone.
Yeah. So that's a thing, and that mission lasts all the way until March 12th, which is crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So that's one part about it.
Why?
I mean, because I guess just why not? Sure.
Mhm.
In terms
I
of,
guess.
there is actually one other challenge event that's out. I don't know how hard it's gonna be, but you want to clear it within 5 turns. There's a mission to clear within 5 turns. It's attack Realm of the Assassins. What I'm thinking that's gonna be is like, because what it sounds like, again, Realm of the Assassins, that could either be something with hits, or it could be something with you know how during the Tournament of Power, like those like assassins came after Golden Frieza and Goku,
Oh
and then
yeah,
it's like all those enemies. It could be like one of those events where it's like you want to use AoE characters and clear the phases
oh
in a
yeah.
certain amount of turns. That might be what it is. We don't know for sure, but it's gonna be one of those 2 things.
That would be perfect. That scene would be perfect for an event like that.
Yeah, and I'm assuming, because of the fact that we're already getting a difficult actual new content stage, this will be like more like the AoE kind of event, like the Cybermen event, stuff like that, right? So that is cool. We do know that Ultimate Speed Battle is coming out. But I think that's only for people in the fan meetup, maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but there are missions for that. Then
That might be for Battle Hour.
yeah, I'm thinking it's probably for battle, because the time it's like the missions are available are like right in the middle of battle hour, right? So
would make
that makes
sense.
sense. But again, there are missions in game that it seems like it'll go live for likely everyone, maybe. Not 100% how that's gonna work, but beyond that, the only other events we're getting are we're getting an equipment event. I don't know what equipment they give. I assume it's gonna be equipment for super bosses.
Yeah, that
Would
makes
make sense to me.
Would make
Yeah,
sense.
actually, it is equipment for super bosses. They are EX equips, so we can get 500 attack bronze, 500 defense bronze, etc. And then just looking through here, we can get level 3 crit, and then additional EX equips for super bosses, level 5 dodge, right? So that's really good. Actually, one thing we didn't speak about. Again, I'm going on a little tangent here before we move on to the next topic, but we do know that when it comes to equips, I know because the anniversary units are going to be out before like the next podcast, right?
Yep.
Remember, we had the anniversary event last year that gave special equipment. So if you're putting equips on Gogeta and Broly, I would watch out, especially for Broly. I think because he's a Dokkan Fest, right? So I'm not sure if Gogeta as the Carnival will get equips, because like last year the Goku and Gohan didn't. But that's why it's good that these are EX equips. I would recommend putting EX equipment on the characters instead of like your normal equips, because
I
if we
agree.
get those special anniversary equips, you're gonna want to replace them, because the anniversary equips are usually crazy good, right?
Yeah, super good.
So
That's the thing; they won't come out until like the last part, won't they, potentially.
No, they won't. That's a good point. Will they add another stage to that anniversary? Like you fight every anniversary from last year? I hope they do.
I would assume so.
Yeah, that's what he's saying, right? Because then that will give you the equips
because that was how you got them.
That'd be because I would imagine that from every anniversary from now on, right, they'll just add a stage to that event, and then you will get equips for the 2 Dokkan Fest, which is really cool,
right?
Because even though you do have to wait until, if it is only going to be updated in part 3, but of course the event came out for the first time in part 3 last time. Maybe it gets added in. Well, I guess technically it could only be added as early as part 2 if it is going to be for the 2 Dokkan Fests, because obviously the other one doesn't come out until part 2. So it's a little bit annoying, because it does mean you have to wait to put the equips on them. But obviously the trade-off is that you get really good equips for the anniversary unit basically
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
free, which is
And
very
again,
cool.
well, it's like with Broly is like in like Pure Saints, we're getting those free super bosses equips, right?
Yeah.
So there is the possibility where you're gonna have some EX equips that you could put on him.
Yeah.
Or again, if you have like tons of like bronze defense equips or attack equips, like you could just put them on here. There,
Yeah.
the last chain battle just ended in GP, so there is some equips there. And again, just one final thing I want to bring up. I do like talking about support memories. There is a support memory awakening, but this one is really, really good. So it is the God Goku support memory from the Dragon Ball story, where it's like the Battle of Gods.
Yep.
The effects. This is crazy. So Realm of Gods allies get 25% attack and defense for 3 turns.
Oh my
And then if there's
gosh.
a Realm of Gods or movie boss's enemy, all allies also get 2 ki for 3 turns. So
That's pretty good.
that's a 25%
Wow.
multiplicative buff to all Realm of Gods allies.
Wow.
Because support memories are in the same phase that an active skill would be. So it's basically as if everyone's getting like a B pen buff for the first 3 turns, and then also with your defense.
Wow.
And key if you're facing in some of those bosses, which we
That's
know that
crazy.
the new event is like Realm of Gods bosses. We have Ultimate Red Zone movie bosses. So that's a stupid good support memory, and that's the reason why I wanted to bring it up. I mean,
That is
like
good.
again, we're getting a lot of Realm of God characters, like again, fusions of Masu, Blue Vegeta, this new Blue Gogeta. So I thought it was just important to bring that up, how powerful that support memory is. Because people don't really talk about support memories, and it's like
True.
I think like there's a thing in the community. People are like, "Oh yeah, I need a new item." This right. Most people shouldn't really care. That support memory will be very useful
Yeah.
for like the Zamasu team, like getting 25% attack and defense for the first 3 turns on that. That's helpful. That's really helpful for that team, and giving key to that team as well
Yeah.
for villains. Because the key isn't restricted to just Realm of Gods. It's all allies. So if you're running another LR on that team, and you're just facing those enemies, they still will get key. They don't have to be Realm of Gods, right? That's what I'm understanding. But yep, looks pretty good to me. So yeah, that's what
That is
cool.
dope.
All I'm
I
gonna
am,
say is because
yeah.
we have to get a heroes mention into every episode. What I'm gonna say is this new event where you fight super class enemies. There's a stage where you fight a Super Saiyan Blue Goku. So our boy Super Saiyan 3 Rose gonna be
Let's
feasting
go.
with that full
Let's
passive
go.
active, getting the quad super turns. Let's go.
Yeah, I guess I might
I
have been
need to
wrong
see
about
videos from you
the-
on that.
might have been wrong about the calculation. Is actually the support item phase, but the main point is that it's a different phase.
At the end of the day, it's
calculation.
still a buff, right? And it's a pretty decent
Yeah.
number. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's definitely very, very interesting.
Like again,
I mean-
25% multiplicative buff for 3 turns is massive. It's really good. So I
Dang.
do like that quite a bit.
I
'Cause I think
will.
That's the highest buff a support memory is given. 25%.
Yeah, I think so.
That is quite a bit. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
there-
Ningen, I will. I'll be keeping an eye out for a video from you about Rose on that one because I will also be attempting that then with him for sure because I'll be curious to
Yeah.
see. I
'Cause
do
there's
hope that
the-
the event is hard though.
we do know that again. There's a Blue Vegeta stage, and then there's a Blue Goku stage. I mean, I do know the typings for the stage because they came up on my timeline, but I'm not gonna spoil it because in the Dokkan assets, I think Ningen said that he wanted to be surprised about it, so
Yeah.
I'll bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, I might do video because that's the thing. I'll be, whilst I am the global boy, global gonna be dry, so I'm gonna be doing videos on the JP stuff.
Let's
so,
go, bring him over,
I'm definitely
baby.
gonna be trying out some teams, getting those extreme units versus the super class enemies. And because the best part is full power super set like Rose when he transforms. That extra attack that he gets from his passive is from an enemy that includes like basically Super Saiyan Blue. So he'll get that buff against the Vegeta and the Goku stage. So that will be
That's dope.
be pretty good for him. So
I do want to point out from chat, Annie, I did mention God Goku because he's the first stage of that new event, so I did already talk about him.
true. We did mention
There you
LR
go.
God Goku as well as a potential featured unit
Yep.
on the the Gogeta banner, because he's
God,
an
Goku
LR that's on
mentioned,
God Realm of Gods, so who knows?
Yeah, it is crazy. We always talk about like God Goku's like brought up every single time.
It's because he's so good.
Without fail.
Yeah.
He is. He's
Like
the
next
goat.
week we're gonna be like, oh, good partners for Gogeta, God Goku.
I
That's
mean,
funny.
what is it? Isn't God Goku one of his 30% is it Exploding Rage? Is one of his 30%?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so
It's like,
Broly will
oh,
be on his 200% leader skill. So
yeah, right.
know?
And
That's
like,
wild.
awesome.
Man,
one of
what a
his better
goated
teams.
unit, bro.
dude, he
Oh
is
my
literally.
gosh.
Because I'm trying to do some work on my JP account just for like I'm going to use the private server for all the big stuff because my JP account is just free to play. But I'm going through and farming some stuff up so I can get some stones to actually do a little stream and summon on the banners. And still at this point, like I do have a few good units on my JP account, although largely they are 55%. But yeah, like double God Goku leads is still like the go-to like best team that my account has, right? So
Yeah.
shout out to the boy.
Shout out to the goat, the goat. You love to
He's
see
the
it.
goat.
He's the goat.
All right.
Well, that is very exciting. Obviously, we will also be getting, a little bit more anniversary info too, when the units drop and whatnot too, which will be very exciting. So I'm excited to see, what they got in store for, like the actual event itself, how difficult it's going to be, all that good stuff. So we will find out. But in terms of our final little bit of info that we got for you, before we go on to everyone's favorite section of the podcast, we do have a couple of streams to mention, official streams, not streams from us, because we'll already be watching. So first of all, the first stream that we have coming up will be the 8th anniversary JP live stream. That will
The
be
8th anniversary, eh?
Did I say 8th anniversary?
We're going back in time, baby.
But obviously the 9th anniversary JP live stream will be tomorrow at 10:30 p.m. Central Time. I know that is a little bit different for everybody's time zone, but if you go to the actual stream, I don't know if you have the link that you could throw in chat or something, but if you go to the actual link on the stream, that will be a countdown timer right there for you, that will tell you how long it will be until the stream actually starts for you, which is really nice. The YouTube does the calcs for you on that.
Pretty much right now it says 30 hours, so like 30 hours.
Yeah, so 30 hours away. And that, by the way, if you are unfamiliar with how those JP live streams work, that will be where they show everything, right? That will be where they show the units animations, right? That will be where they show the units kits. That will be where they show the banners. That will be where they show other celebration information, new units, potentially EZAs, all that good stuff, right? That will be the main source of information before it obviously drops in the news. So that will be very cool. It's nice that it's actually, not at like 3 a.m. I guess that's nice for us though.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's not great.
it's at like 4:30 a.m. for me on Sunday morning.
Let's
go,
that's baby! Rise and grind, my boy.
Yep.
But yeah, so that is pretty cool. But interestingly enough, I'm gonna be honest with you. We have no idea how this is gonna actually work. But we are getting one more Dokkan little live stream before, obviously, we talked about earlier. We will eventually be getting that part 2 fan meetup, but I don't know if it doesn't really it doesn't really matter as much for right now, because obviously that's still a fat minute away. But besides the JP live stream, we will also be getting a battle hour info video. Now this will be the day after we get the actual JP live stream. Unfortunately, battle hour is not going to be streamed for anything else except for the
Fighters
the
tournament, right?
Daima panel. The Daima panel will be getting a live stream, but everything else, including Dokkan, which, by the way, says on the website that it is going to be at 1 p.m. on Sunday. I assume that is California time,
Yeah.
because obviously, that's the time zone that the event is taking place in. And they did announce on Twitter that there will be a video archive of the event. So I'm assuming it is quite literally just they are recording the event and then, they're going to put it up later in the day, after the actual event happens at Battle Hour. So
Yeah.
we will also be looking forward to that. It'll be really interesting to see what they actually decide to show because, of course, not only is Battle Hour obviously focused a little bit more around the global side of things, like even the Dokkan event that they have there. Obviously you're not playing the JP version of the game for that. And it's also going to be interesting because, of course, the anniversary characters, are already going to be basically fully revealed from the JP stream. So they could definitely, still do a little bit of hey, here's what's coming up on JP for the anniversary, so come later on global type of thing. They could also potentially show off the Android since we know that is coming next.
So
Hype.
They could also show off updates and stuff too.
keep in mind the panel is with Legends, Dokkan and Legends together, and
Yeah.
they're showing data of the games. So I'm not sure if there's gonna be actual reveals. Maybe at the end.
Last year they did. Last year they had a little
so-
something. Nothing crazy though.
Last year was just the Legends, right? But still, I think
Well,
it
then
was the
I'm
year
thinking of the year before.
The year before, what they did is they gave us again same kind of data, like a little quiz thing. But then we did get the Blue Evolution Vegeta EZA basically announced for same day. So I'm we could see the same day EZA announced, and then we can get a confirmation what the same day Dokkan Fest will have. And then Legends can reveal the next because Legends is getting another another LF or something.
Right, for
soon,
the GT
right?
celebration, yeah.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a thing. Dokkan can talk about the TOP androids as well, but hopefully what we get is news about the sync. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, that would be cool. We'll see what ends up happening. Obviously, they could always very well just change it up because Dokkan is Dokkan and they like to be funny. So we'll see what they end up doing. It'll be very interesting when we actually get that reveal. So hopefully, it'll be something pretty cool. I know I will also be, I was planning on streaming the Battle Hour stuff, but obviously since there is no stream for Dokkan specifically, I think I might still stream whenever they put up the informational video. So we'll see when that actually happens, because obviously the unfortunate thing is that, as much as I hate to clown on, well, actually, I don't even hate to clown on them. I just do hate to clown on our boys at Bandy Namkey. Unfortunately, they definitely need a new planning department. Because they're never really good at structuring these live events or giving enough information about how releases for the videos and streams and all that stuff is going to be happening. They never really give enough info for all of that stuff, unfortunately. Even for the actual live event, I know one of my buddies who lives in California was thinking about going. And then, he thought that you had to pay for it, but I was like, no, it's free. But, they don't make that clear enough, I feel like. But anyway, we don't know when that actual video will be going up for that Dokkan information. Because even though, obviously, the panel is at 1 p.m. their time, they left it ambiguous as to when the actual video will go up. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping it is as soon as the panel is done, because the panel is only going to be a half an hour long. Because they're at 1. I'm looking at the schedule for Battle Hour right now. At 1, that's the Dokkan thing, and then at 1:30, there's a watch party for Dragon Ball Z. They don't even tell you what episode or what movie. It just says watch party Dragon Ball Z. Thanks, Bandai, you bums. But then at 2 p.m. is the Sparking Zero panel. So I am assuming that Probably they would be putting these up either, like as the panel ends, then they would probably go up on YouTube, or maybe they'll just upload them all at the same time at the end of the day. Obviously we don't know. So,
Yeah.
but besides all of that, though, obviously the big boy stream, the more important one, will be tomorrow, which will be the anniversary stream. So look forward to that. But that is basically all of the info that we have. If you are, by the way, definitely Twitter, tag us on the podcast account. We would love to see some pictures from the event and all that good stuff. I know they are having like an actual Dokkan event at Battle Hour where you can actually win some Dokkan merch, and they have an official Dokkan t-shirt you can get.
Whoa, let's go.
Very cool. It is quite literally just a JPEG of Vegeto's card art with the Dokkan logo, which is hilarious.
Amazing.
But you can indeed buy official Dokkan merch. So send us some pictures if you do attend the event for any Dokkan stuff that they have, because we would love to see it. And that will be very cool. So with all that being said, it's time to move on to the final section of the podcast. Oh, it does say what episode it is. Okay, somebody in the chat did say that apparently it's episode 286 of DBZ that they're going to be showing. Thank you. I guess I just didn't see that on the website. Appreciate you. So, with that being said, though, we are going to move on to the final part of the podcast today, which, of course, is
What could it
everybody's favorite section. Oh, what could it be? We, of course, have our trash take section for the day. This is going to be a very, very interesting one. We were discussing the panel of judges. The council will decide your fate. For this particular, I was going to say this particular fate. I'm already condemning this man for his take. But the take is on screen, and I will, of course, give it a little read out for you. I do not believe, unfortunately, we don't have context or more context on this one. But the hot take says, whatever units will be in Gogeta's banner, on Gogeta's banner, by the way, grammar, will be trash because of the Carnival format, and there is units like Omega Shinron or Triku or Birdku in the banner. Now, obviously, we did touch on this a little bit earlier with the whole thing of the format of these banners. But, of course, this man is saying that basically the banner is just going to be big stinky because of not only the units that are going to be on it, but obviously, saying that the Carnival format is trash. So I'll say before I throw it to my co-hosts here, obviously from me, this is an L take that I will be voting on the poll in chat. Of course, like we discussed before, these Carnival banners have been getting better and better, and not to mention, there are also now better units on them. And of course, right, that's only kind of half the take. Of course, the first half is, it's trash just because it is the Carnival format. I think in terms of the Carnival format, as long as they make both parts equal to each other, right? I think as long as they make them both the same amount of hype and, how good the units are, I would say that the format is just fine. As long as that is the case. Ningen, what do you think?
Oh boy. I mean, it's kind of funny because obviously we went through the banner, and I thought the banner was going to be quite good when I'd already forgotten that the Worldwide Celebration LRs were going to be on there. So the fact that we always go by the wording of the take if we can't get the extra bit of insight from the person in question. But it says, like, whatever units in the banner will be trash. Well, I mean, we already know that AGL, Kai Goku, or Int Gohan, whichever way around it will be, one of them will be in there, and then the other one will be in the other one in part 2. And they're both really good. And then, of course, as I had completely forgotten, STR Future Gohan is going to be either on this banner or the Part 2 banner. And he's
It should be
still
Future Gohan.
like top 5 LR in the game,
Yeah.
probably, right?
I would say he's like top 5, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And then Sword of Hope Trunks, who is still very good. Yeah, like this banner is. I mean, this banner. Let's be honest, right? People are Carnival LRs can be hit or miss, right? When you look at the units like the STR Goku, Omega, mainly because of his team. But then you look at units like Future Gohan. After Future Gohan releasing for the worldwide celebration, I feel like he is one of those examples that you now can't really turn around and say like, oh, well, Carnival LRs are just automatically not as good as, say, like Dokkan Fest exclusive LRs, because Future Gohan is just so good. So this banner's going to have Gogeta, who is a Carnival LR, sure, but he's Gogeta, and he's an anniversary headliner Gogeta. Like, if they were ever going to take the care and the time and the effort to make a Carnival LR, like, absolutely snap, it would be Gogeta from the Broly movie, right? So Gogeta is going to be on the banner. Then we're going to have either Future Gohan or Sword of Hope Trunks, Kai Goku or Gohan, and then, yeah, admittedly, like Birdku or Metal Cooler. But then we already know STR UI Goku, which I'm gonna give this person the benefit of the doubt and assume that they didn't know that when making this post. I can't remember when the actual date of the tweet was, so they probably didn't know that. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, right? I'm a fan of the Carnival format in general anyway, but in terms of this, I feel like this is specifically talking about the units on the banner, and yeah, I think it's just a big L take for me.
Yeah.
I forgot to click the button to actually put the poll in the chat, so there you go. The poll is in the chat. As we always say, if you are in the chat, go ahead and vote and let us know your opinion. If you're listening to this afterwards on Spotify or rewatching it back, do consider, if you can, making it out to the live episode so you can take part in the segment as well. But yeah, the poll is up in the chat now, and I'll let Minato say his piece.
So I mean, yeah, you made very, very good points about that again, and I agree with basically all of them. But even then, it's like, we knew STR UI Goku was going to EZA, and we saw in the news that his banner wasn't announced. So a lot of us were already thinking that he was going to be featured on the Gogeta banner, right? Another thing along with that is the fact that, again, like you said, these Carnival Lars are getting better as time goes on. These Carnival banners will get better. And it's also like 3+1, so that's cool, right? You get the free multi. But one last thing I do want to mention regarding the Carnival banners, and the thought just slipped my mind. It's just gone. I don't know. Dang it! No. What I was thinking about is gone. So
it fell out of his head.
no, it's actually gone.
Wow, look at this
my
dude.
goodness. Are you kidding me? I fell off so hard. I was gonna say something about the banner. Why is this just gone? No.
He fell off.
Oh yeah,
He fell
I
off.
remember now. Okay, it's not specific with the banner, but EZA 2 was announced, right? They're like,
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that. Good point.
We didn't talk about that actually. It
True.
was pretty big, but
well, I mean,
it
was. I guess it was mentioned that it's going to be announced. Obviously, it wasn't
it's going to happen.
But yeah.
But with that in mind, like all of these older characters that are bad now are going to be re-updated. So even if they've already gotten their original EZA, they're gonna get beyond the Extreme Z Awakening is going to happen. That like no matter what, we don't know how it's gonna work. We don't know when it's gonna happen, but it is going to happen. They did confirm that it is.
Oh man, I can't believe it, man. We've been making jokes about it for so long that there's gonna be an EZA 2, and they actually did.
EZA 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yes,
right.
It's totally happening. Because yeah, that's the thing, right? Imagine if I know they said at the fan meetup that it's like gonna be announced soon, like air quotes. We don't know what that means exactly, but could you imagine how crazy it would be if it's like, whether it's this banner or it's the Carnival banner in Part 2, where they just announce like EZA 2, and then one of the featured LRs on the Carnival banner is getting the EZA 2 as part of the anniversary or something. That would be insane.
You know what people are thinking? People are thinking that they'll do Super Gogeta and Super Janemba as the first EZA 2 during the anniversary.
That would actually be sick.
Like from
Yeah.
the
That would be
first
wild.
anniversary.
I would love that. I was funny enough you say that. I was talking to the boys and they were like, yeah, low key, you know, it would be so gas if they had. I mean, this could even maybe this would be more fitting for 10th anniversary because obviously, you know, that's going to be Dokkan's like big moment for sure. But could you imagine if like even like obviously, you know, the banners by today's comparison would of course be, you know, hot stinky garbage, but maybe they could just revamp them or something. Wouldn't it be so hype if they reran the year one Dokkan Fest banners and then gave them like an Easy A2? That would be amazing. Like, obviously, you know, it kind of wouldn't make sense. And of course, the units on it, you know, it would be really weird. But literally, just from the standpoint of being hype, I think that would be awesome.
That would be so crazy. Yeah, so it's just like
You
the
think
exact
Global would
same
get the
banner.
nerfed rates again?
Yeah.
Dude.
But yeah, so it's like
7%.
10th anniversary then just gets the exact, like the lineup is the same and everything. Just
Yeah.
the first anniversary banner, except
Yeah.
all of the units get Easy A2. Like that
would
would
be
be crazy.
amazing.
That'd be
That'd
so
be
good.
insane. Dude,
Uh,
I would actually go crazy for that. See that old banner image too, if they like did a thing where they did like you know, like a remixed version of like the old art for the banner or something. Oh, it'd be so peak. But
That'd be
yeah, I
crazy.
think that'd be awesome. Not
Also,
to mention, I am curious with the Easy 2. The
Oh,
only thing
yeah.
People are talking about Wrathful Broly.
That's
right?
yeah, that's
yeah,
I saw someone say that before, and I can't believe I forgot. I wanted to remember to say that on the episode when we talked about Easy A2. That would be perfect because obviously Wrathful Broly being one of the few units, you know, we don't have another Wrathful Broly. So
Yeah.
with the units from part
True.
1 headliner banners being Broly movie related, how crazy would that be if they just announced Easy A2 in like part 1 of the anniversary and it goes to Wrathful Broly? Like that would be
I think that'd be
super
awesome.
hype.
crazy.
He was just
That'd
like
be awesome.
the Easy when he released, like he was so good, but then it's like, you know, he never had another chance. So now he actually
Yeah.
gets that chance.
Yeah,
But
'cause
then
I
what they
remember
need to
he
do
was-
is they need to Easy.
That would be amazing.
Now they get Easy Raditz.
True, that's true. That would be a dope. I mean, you know, I will say the one thing I am curious when it comes to the Easy A2, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, so we can move on. But I am going to be curious to see how it works from the perspective of like, do you need to have the first Easy A to make the character become
You'd
Easy
assume so,
A2'd?
right?
It's called
You know?
Beyond the Extreme Z Awakening specifically. is what
Right?
they said.
Yeah.
So
I would think,
you
but
need
you
an
know, that would
Extreme Z
also be
Awakening to
so
go beyond
weird.
it, right?
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
imagine that it'll work like a normal EZA, right? Where they'll just add a new color of medal.
Right.
And then it like say for example, you could do it like the way they've done it now, where when you've got all of the medals for the normal EZA, you can do them all in one go. If you did like the normal EZA and then the EZA 2 event, you could then have that option. It would just do it like all in one go if you had all the medals.
Yeah.
I wonder if it
imagine
would
they
be
just
like-
add extra medals on top.
I wonder if
Yeah.
it would be like a button you could select in the ECA where it's like it switches to like the updated
Maybe.
version.
I don't know. And
Or what if it uses the same event and it's like, you know how there's the title where when you
Oh.
get to level 77 you get the title. What if like they add missions and it's like you get the medals through missions by clearing level 77 of that?
That would be
As long as
wild.
as long as they add it retroactively, so that I automatically
Yeah.
get all of them, because
Well,
I've done up to level
exactly.
100 in every EZA already. So what's going to happen if they? That's one of the things. If they add stages
True,
to the
true.
event, what happens if you've already done them all? Like
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So-
It'll be a mission and then it'll clear as long
Yeah.
as you clear
hell
past
yeah,
this
auto
mission
clear. That's what
right?
we like to see.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Um,
I mean, it'll be interesting to see too, like, you know, will they become like, because I swear, like, they can't make them higher level than they already are. Like, will they be level 160? Will they be SA like
No.
30? You know?
I think it'll just be like a passive upgrade.
Yeah, I would think so
Just
too,
like
because
LR
there's no way
EZAs,
they can
right?
make them stronger like that.
Just like LR EZAs.
Yeah.
true.
All right, but yeah, back to the take. I mean, yeah, again,
We got a little
it's
off
a big
track.
thing because like Carnival banners usually have like those banner units. So like we could see like that Ajo Wrath for Broly. Maybe he's featured and he gets an easy
Yeah, true.
right? You know, that's how like those Carnival banners usually can have those 3 TURs. So
Yeah,
That's
because it's
possible.
like 7, including the new one. It's like 7 featured LRs and then 3
yeah, at the
like
3 banner
random
units.
TURs. So yeah, that could be like Wrathful Broly could be one of those random TURs, and then yeah, could get Easy A2, for example. That'd be crazy.
Yep. So yeah, this trash take is definitely a trash take because I think that again, people have the mindset that Carnival banners are bad because of what happened in Worldwide 2022, which, in my opinion, wasn't even that bad. And they're like, oh, imagine having to wait for part 2 to use our stones. And I think that's fair, but it's also more useful for free-to-play players because it's like, if you like the part 2 unit better, then you have part 1 stones and part 2 stones for part 2. Whereas if you end up not liking the part 2 character, you're going to only have the part 1 stones to summon on the discounts anyways. So it's going to be the same thing, right? It's just that I understand people don't really want to have to wait to summon, which, you know, fair, right? In terms of a high factor, being able to summon instantly without worrying is definitely a thing that you could like talk about. But I think in terms of like maximizing your stones, it is the most free to play friendly option as well. So that's why people don't like that Carnival format. But the banners themselves are going to get better as time passes on and we get more Carnival LRs, right?
The thing is, though, as well, is I get, we talked about it a little bit before, because obviously, again, we don't want to go off too much of a sidetrack, but I think we're all pretty much in agreement, and I think the chat is as well, that this is an L take. But so while we are kind of talking about the Carnival format thing again a little bit here, I kind of get the argument about like the free to play thing, where it's like you have to show restraint and like wait to see what happens in part 2. But the thing is, it's all they're doing is moving one of the what would have been the part 2 banners into part 1. So in theory, if you were only going to summon on the part 1 banners and not touch the part 2 banners anyway, you're basically just doing the same thing, but in 2 parts, right? You just summon on Broly's banner, don't touch Gogeta's banner, and then when part 2 comes out, you summon on the Dokkan Fest banner and don't touch the Carnival banner. It's just, unfortunately, you know, as much as we're all in the gacha like black hole a little bit, but it's just, I think a lot of it does come from that like inability to show restraint, like, right, where it's like the other banner's right there, I want to summon on it and I can't wait until the part 2 banners come out. It's like, well,
I just can't wait no more.
You just kind of have to, like,
it's FOMO, fear of missing out.
Exactly,
right? Everyone else has units.
That is what
like,
it is.
I want the unit, and then it's like you just have to. Again, it's good to be patient for it, I think. And then again, if you like the part 2 banner better, then you have more stones. Right? Yeah, part 1 and part 2 stones. So you really
sir. And I will say though, when it does come to this instance, I mean, obviously this format has only been like a couple times. Obviously, it's easy to say it for this because, of course, there isn't that many, you know, like other examples or whatever you would call it to, you know, like take from, I guess. But bro, this is definitely, I will say, the easiest like bait in terms of if you would only normally be summoning on the Dokkan Fest banners, it's Gogeta on the Carnival
Gogeta
banner.
with the new mechanic, original animations. It's like, bruh.
Like, it's obviously that is going to be hard for people to skip. I 100% understand that. You know, so like, you know, they definitely did a good job in terms of like having that be kind of like, I don't want to say bait because obviously it's an anniversary unit, but you know, kind of be like the thing that you want to summon onto.
The thing is though, as well, is it does, like we say, it does work both ways as well, because like if the banners were the other way around, like a normal format, so we don't know who the other one is going to be, obviously, but let's say it was Beast Gohan. So part 1 is Broly and Beast Gohan. Everyone goes crazy, dumps all of their stones, and then the part 2 banners come out, and it's a Carnival Gogeta with a new mechanic, with animations. The same people would then be complaining that they now want to summon on the part 2 banner that they originally wouldn't have bothered to summon on because the unit is so cool. And unfortunately, it is one of those things with it being a gacha game at the end of the day. And obviously Akatsuki's main goal is to run their business. Of course, they're going to make the unit that is the banner that most people would consider skipping. Oh, now all of a sudden that unit is like Omega hype, right? So they obviously do that on purpose.
Yeah, well, you know, that is a certified gacha game moment. They do love to do stuff like that to try and get you to spend. So yeah, but it is it's very interesting though. You know, I think the whole like having it just be, you know, this format is quite interesting for this anniversary because obviously this is also the first time they've done it for an Annie, obviously. So it'll be interesting to see if they decide to continue doing this forward. But yeah, I hate to say it, buddy, but this take is trash. Throw it in the dumpster.
What do we always say every episode, boys?
Yep,
When we get
he
a
understood
certified
the
trash take.
assignment.
That's right. They understood the assignment. So there you go.
Sir. Oh man. All right. Well, that is the trash take. Wow, that is pretty big. Yeah. L takes 70% on the poll, by the way. 29% for W take. Obviously, YouTube's always a little funny with their math, but yeah. That is kind of wild. Yeah, I think I can agree with that. It is like a bad take because of the reasoning, I feel like. I feel like if this person maybe articulated a little bit more or gave like some more like, different points or agreeable points, I guess, then maybe it would have been a little bit different. But
well, plus,
as
like we
far
said, it's we go
yeah.
by the wording like as best we can, right? And it just
Right.
says whatever units will be in the banner will be trash. It's like, but we already know that pretty much half the banner is going to be units that are really good. So yeah,
Yep.
automatic L.
Also, if we really want to get technical about it, I know he's saying the other units that aren't Gogeta, right? There is units like Omega or Triku or Birdku, but if he's just talking about units in general, he could also be, you could twist it to say he's calling Gogeta trash, which I know is a bit of a stretch, but just for the funny. But anyway, yeah, that is our trash take for this week. Thank you all so much for participating. As per usual, if you would like to participate in the trash take section in the future, not only for when we actually go over them, definitely pull up to the stream. Of course, on YouTube and on Spotify, there is a poll for you to be able to vote for your thoughts on the trash take. And if you would like to submit trash takes, it is every Wednesday that we put up the tweet talking about, hey, if you got any trash takes for the week, send them our way. So make sure to follow us on the Slot One Super Podcast Twitter account so that you can, holy cow, I look like a Super Saiyan right now. My hair is crazy right now, dude. Yeah, obviously, go ahead and follow us on the Slot One Super Podcast Twitter account so that you can participate in some upcoming shenanigans that we will be doing on the podcast and our trash takes. But with all of that being said, we are now on the final segment for the podcast today, which is, of course, our donos and super chats. So, throwing it over to you, Ningen.
Yeah, I've got my list up here. I can see, look at this glare. I'm like, I need to get a different, because Streamlabs keeps missing out some of the donations that come in during the podcast. So I've had to start, I copy and paste them all onto a notepad. And it's now just a giant white box on my screen. I'm over here getting look at this light on my face. I'm over here getting a tan. But anyway, shout out to everyone who did indeed contribute to the podcast. Obviously, guys help support us and keep the show going. So we'll go through and read these all out here. So we got our boy Dr. Pritch with the $3 super chat. Says the GOAT physical Bota Magetta becoming a TUR when. I mean, he fits the super theme, right? So maybe if we get some Tournament of Power buffs.
Maybe so.
Could you imagine, though, they'd have to not do anything to his leader skill, right? Because if they make his leader skill go up any higher, he actually will make a team completely invincible, because his leader skill is 40% damage reduction. So imagine it goes up to 50%, and then you run double leads, and your whole team's just invincible.
I got it. 41%. Damage reduction.
41%.
Or they just give one key.
Yeah, 40% damage reduction and one key. Yeah, but then that would actually make the team even better though, because normally his lead doesn't give any key, so that'd be great.
I mean, but it would be
the next one, I'm not 100% sure what this one means. I don't know if Drace is still in the chat for any clarification before I get to the end of the list. But the way it's worded, it says Sparkle. And then greater than symbol X100 TOP androids.
Sparkle.
That that would be a Honkai character, yeah.
Yeah, I could explain.
Right, okay.
So Sparkle is how do I explain? So in the game, she's a support character, and then in the game you have limited skill points.
Right.
Only 4, but then she increases that to 7, I think. So she gives you 7 skill points. She's I don't want to say Bulma, but like
Okay.
s-
So
like,
basically, the take is that
she's-
she is better than 100 of the Tournament of Power androids. So
yeah, she's really good. She's gonna be really good.
That
So
is,
that's awesome.
bro just made like the
Wait, no, it's
like
five,
1
my
million lions versus all Pokemon like comparison basically.
Sorry, I'm stupid. Honkai Star gives 5 skill points.
okay,
That's right.
so
But
well, there you go.
It's
I was confused, but fortunately, Minato was on hand to clarify this one. So there you
Feels
go.
so
Shout out to Drace.
stupid they
I mean,
call their
let me
Sparkle,
know.
by the way.
Let me know if you guys are Honkai Star fans in the chat, in the replies.
Yeah, Minato can plug you. You can plug your second channel in the
I do have a
chat. there.
second channel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shout out to everyone that checked out my second channel as well. By the way, we hit 1,000 subscribers today, so that was
Let's
awesome.
go.
Going through
Huge.
the Dark Souls 3 playthrough at the moment, and then tomorrow for Community Saturday we'll be playing some Lethal Company, so that'll be fun.
I might have to pull up.
But yeah, so shout out to Dr. Pritch for another $3 dono. This is an interesting one because I think this was before we started talking about EZA2. LR, Goku, and Frieza, the first EZA2, and gets another category lead added to their leader skill. That would be very interesting because were they the first LR EZA? So, and then of course they fit the super theme, so that would definitely
That would be dope. And TOP stuff as well?
Yeah, exactly. That would definitely be very cool. I want to see a new version of that unit, right, with 17 involved.
It's so
and just, like,
bad,
the
dude.
better animation and stuff. It'd be so good.
Or
But
two.
yeah,
Yeah.
or two, yeah. And then we have Goku Sensei with the $2 dono. This one came in a bit earlier on during the episode. It says, "I'm currently at the Battle Hour event." Is that?
Oh,
Is it?
Oh,
actually,
nice.
is it
Yeah.
on at the
Look,
moment?
there's-
That's awesome.
No,
Yeah,
there's-
it is, yeah.
I saw it. It's check-in.
Yeah, today is check-in.
Nice.
It's so weird how they're doing it. Well, I mean, like today being check-in, that's fine. But
Yeah.
tomorrow, Saturday, is the Sandland movie hour,
Mm-hmm.
and Sunday is when all the events are happening. I don't know why they decided that they wouldn't do everything on Saturday, because you would think for an event like that, Saturday would be the time to do everything. But they're having the first, and by the way, only way to watch Sandland not in Japan at Battle Hour, because there isn't like any plans as far as I know to release it on DVD or anything. They basically just haven't said anything. So this is the only way, if you go to Battle Hour, that you can see Sandland not in Japan. So
Yeah.
that's kind of cool, I guess. But
Wow.
yeah, the event is going on right now.
Nice. Well, shout out to Goku Sensei at Battle Hour event and checking out the podcast. You love to see it. So
W.
yeah,
Put
shout
the
out.
podcast on the big screen, brother.
Let's go. Shout out to Philip Rodriguez, gifting 5 memberships to the channel. I appreciate you, my dude. Shout out to Drace for another $5 super chat. This is kind of interesting, actually. It's kind of like a tie, other than just Dragon Ball Super and the movies as a theme. If Part 2 Dokkan Fest does indeed turn out to be Beast Gohan, it says DBS, Broly, and Gohan, 2 innocent people with beastly dormant power. So
True.
that is kind of like a cool connection there between the 2 headliners.
cool
Very cool. Hopefully it will be Beast Gohan. It's going to be exciting to see, but that's pretty cool. So shout out to Drace. We have JC Gamer with the $2 dono. He says, "I think it's time to stop yellow coin banners." I mean, yeah, yellow coin LRs have kind of become a bit redundant, I suppose, but at least now they do have like the pity mechanic and stuff like that. I mean, to be fair, Bulma was a yellow coin LR, even though she was it March? No, is it April? The Golden Week is, right? So late April / early May she would have come out, and still is one of the best units in the game. But unfortunately, not many yellow coin LRs are as good as Bulma. So
Yeah.
yeah, yellow coin LRs. The only problem is if they stop doing yellow coin LRs, it means every single Part 2 LR that we get in these celebrations will then basically all have to be carnivals. Which, I mean, it's not necessarily the end of the world, right? I think it's because it condenses the coins down, so there's less coins to worry about and stuff like that. Probably is a good idea. But
Yeah.
but yeah, yellow coin banners, I guess, kind of have become redundant a little bit. I could see that for
A
sure.
little bit, yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, there's the cool, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I did receive a little bit of a slice of info from the boy Proton. He slid into my DMs and told me that just so we can put it in the podcast somewhere. What do you call it? Frieza's essay is going to be the TUR one is going to be the one that the SSR is. He looked in the data and just confirmed it. So thank you, Proton. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, my dude.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. But yeah, yellow coin banners, pretty redundant at this point. But then again, for most players, you probably just shouldn't be summoning them on them in general anyway. Bomber was kind of like the only exception probably for the whole of last year. So
for the whole of time.
yeah, bit redundant at this point. And then we got one come in at the last minute here as we were going through the list. I feel like I know the answer to this, but I don't know if either of you guys would disagree and want to claim that flag for yourself. But Sokudo with the $2 super chat says, who is the biggest whale between you three?
Oh, so that's a good question, actually.
Well, actually, I don't know if you know off the top of your head, but how many memorial stones did you get this most recent worldwide celebration?
You want me to look it up?
Good. Yeah, because I was going to say I can bring up my... because I always put the number in the thumbnail. So, okay, yeah, I've got mine up here.
Memorial.
Minato, do you know?
Yeah, I'm looking at mine up right now.
Yeah, let's go. Whale off.
Oh, maybe I don't.
I'm pretty sure you have more than I do, though.
Yeah, probably. I think it is me, right? But
I have my number. I mean, yeah, I have my number.
Okay, I have my number as well. I found it.
All right,
All
Theo.
go first.
I go first. I feel like if I'm going to guess, I think it goes in order of least to most whale. It goes Theo, Minato, and then me. So if I'm right, we'll go in that order. So Theo, how many did you get?
That is a pretty... I do want to pretense this, by the way. In more recent years, I have definitely cut back a lot when it comes to Dokkan, because I used to be going nuts back in the day. But that is definitely a John, 100%. I won't lie on when I say that. But I have 323 memorial stones to my name from 2023.
Okay, Minato.
For me, I was at 630 memorial.
Oh my lord!
That's not far. That's not that far off, to be fair. Mine was 761. So
wow,
I thought it was. I did figure it would be better. I mean, the thing is, I have had multiple. I had multiple events during. I think it was early 2023 and late 2022 where I had like multiple banners where I had to go like 2,000 stones to get one copy of the character. So
that's wild.
yeah.
Luckier, man.
And then obviously when it comes to things like heroes, I'm obviously like I rainbow all of the units. Anniversary and worldwide, I probably end up dropping like anywhere between 3,000 and 5,000 like stones across the entire thing. Because my thing normally when it comes to like whaling is I usually avoid buying full price stones, but I will buy like all the sale packs. So obviously when we get something like the anniversary or the worldwide where there's a ton of them, I still get all of them because they are the like better value packs to get. Even if I don't intend to use them all, it just makes more sense to get the ones that are on sale. But yeah, so there you go. The numbers show, like I say, I assumed that was the case, but yeah, in terms of whale status, it goes me, Minato, and then our boy Dokkan Assets. But
yes,
there you go. So shout out to Sokudo for the $2 super chat. Let us know in the chat if you haven't already. How many memorial stones did you get for the 2023 worldwide celebration? Did any of you get more than 760? Was it 61? I said I've closed the window. I think so. So yeah, let us know in the chat. So I believe, let me just double check here quickly. Yes, that was the last one. So shout out to all you guys for all the donations. Oh yeah, one came in. Oh damn. Okay. Our boy Dr. Fritch in the chat with the $3 super chat. He says, donos for you free to players. I had 1,068 memorial stones. So
wow.
That's like Minato and Dokkan Assets put together, basically. So yeah, there you go. Shout out to Dr. Pritch. But yeah, that's it for the contributions. We appreciate you guys, as always, for helping to support the podcast. And yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Appreciate it. All right. Well, with all of that being said, I think that is everything that we have for this week of the Slot One Super Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. We definitely had a good time on this episode. Obviously, next week we will be even cooking more because obviously we will have the anniversary units by then. We will have all of the anniversary info, and I believe the three of us will have summoned by then as well. So that will be very exciting to look forward to. So definitely come back next week for when we have all of our beautiful anniversary units in our box. Hopefully, I'm praying for the three of us that it's easy. And with that being said, I hope all of you have a fantastic weekend. And we will see you in the next one from the three of us. Have a good one.
Peace out.
Bye.